Hey friends, I'm JP. Welcome to Junodrome Tarot. I'd just like to thank everyone who has subscribed to this channel. Huge thanks to all the subscribers. Thanks for commenting. I love hearing from everyone. We've recently hit the 800 mark in subscribers, which is so amazing. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing some pretty big giveaways, so check in and tune in for that. Today's tarot reading is going to be messages from your future self. So I pretty obsessively watch tarot videos on YouTube, and one of the topics that seems to come up from a lot of readers is doing readings that are from your future self. So the idea for these readings is that we're going to be channeling messages from some version of yourself in the future that is resonating with the moment that you're in when you watch this video. So these videos are timeless. This video is for the moment that it finds you. So whenever you find this video, it is the moment you should watch it, right? Doesn't matter when I post it. This particular reading is going to give you messages that some future version of yourself is in a very resonant moment with the moment that you're in now, coming from the future. So I'm going to show you in a moment the piles that you can choose from. There's 4 different readings within this video. So choose the one that you feel drawn to the most, and down in the description section of this video, you will find a link to your reading. So now, without further ado, I will show you the cards and you can choose your reading. Catch you later. Pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4. Pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4. Hey there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So today we're going to be doing a reading on messages from your future self. So this is a reading I've seen a lot of YouTube readers do that I've never tried before, so we'll see how it goes. But this is the idea of this, is that we're going to be channeling in messages from you in the future. So kind of like, what advice does a future version of yourself want you to know? Prefer potentially, most likely, a version of yourself that, you know, is where you want to be, I would assume, or whichever future version of yourself you need to hear right now. So, you know, this is a version of you in the future coming to contact you about where you are now and what they want you to know. And so you chose the pile with this really beautiful blue tiger's eye, which is such a fun stone. It's very similar to normal tiger's eye, but it's all blue, which is great. So we'll put that into my stone bucket and we'll start in here. So I've got multiple different tarot decks like usual, and then a couple of oracle cards to finish out your reading. But we'll start out with these 3 from the Wild Unknown Tarot. And we've got the Father of Pentacles, the Hermit, and I don't really read reversals. I'm going to continue to not read reversals, just because that's what I do. And we've got the 9 of Cups. So this future version of yourself is a very powerful version of you who's coming to speak to you today. And it's interesting. They've come into their own power, right? With the Father of Pentacles, that's normally the King of Pentacles, who's like the ultimate in abundance, right? He's sort of built his entire he's built up his world in the way that he wants. He's achieved a lot financially, stability wise, location. So, you know, obviously you don't have to be male watching this, but this future version of yourself is a person who is, who's achieved deep stability in their life, and is deeply happy about it, right? With this 9 of Cups. 9 of Cups is a very happy card. You know, they've achieved this this happiness. But the thing about the Nine of Cups, which is interesting, and you have the Hermit here too, which is like, it's a very clear message coming from this version. It's like, in order to get to where you want to go, you have to put yourself first, and not in like a sociopathic kind of way, but more in like you know, in order to build the life you want for yourself, you have to prioritize that life. You have to prioritize yourself and your dreams and your hopes, and you can't let someone else's stuff get in your way, right? Like, what I mean by that is like, so with the Nine of Cups here, the Nine of Cups is all about being in your own personal power, I guess, and achieving a sense of internal happiness and deep happiness that comes on your own. It's not a happiness that comes from external validation. It's a happiness that's gained through recognition of who you are and being very comfortable with your own sense of achievement. You know, sometimes it can be a lonely card, you know. I am getting a little bit of lonely vibes here too with the Hermit. The Hermit is all about going within and going on your own. But I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing, because, you know, this is, I connect it to a self-love kind of sense as well. So it's sort of like you're connected into your own self-love, and you've connected into your own internal sense of harmony. And so your future self is saying, like, really, to get to where you want to go financially, stability wise, it's like you have to prioritize that in a way where you are still holding on to your own self-fulfillment. You're giving yourself the love that you need, but you're not afraid to buck trends. You're not afraid to do what your intuition is saying is right. You're not afraid to turn away from the crowd in order to make what you need to have happen. I get that sense from your future self. It's like, in order to get to where you want to go, you have to prioritize your hopes and your dreams, even if that sometimes feels a little isolating. You know, and I'm not saying, like, we'll see more cards here to see more understandings. Like, I don't know if you're necessarily totally alone here, right? Like, you probably have support, you probably have friends, but it's like, you're also not afraid to spend the night in alone if you need to, right? You're not afraid to prioritize going to bed early when you need to, instead of, you know, going out and partying with everybody, because that's what, you know, you're looking for other people to make you feel happy, right? It's like, no, you make yourself feel happy in the future. And so you're able to build this world of your dreams, the life of your dreams, through prioritizing it, through prioritizing yourself, your health, your own happiness, and putting that as the priority of your being, I guess. So let's see, we've got 3 cards from the 1JJ Swiss deck. We'll get some more information. We got the 9 of Pentacles, which I was feeling with this too. That's so much further confirmation. But you do have the 2 of Cups, which is cool. And you have the Empress. Yeah, okay. Right, this is the pile. I saw a few of your cards when I was shuffling, so I know a little bit of your future here. But I won't give it away. Okay, so this is interesting too. So like I was saying, I don't necessarily think you're totally alone here, right? Because you have the 2 of Cups, which can talk about love. It can also talk about self-love. I definitely feel that for you for the most. It's like you're not afraid to, it's like you've mastered the art of self-love. This future version of you that's coming to speak to you, it wants to let you know that, like, you know, in the future, you've come to more of a complete sense of yourself in the future. You've come to more of an understanding of what you want in life. I'm going to move that plant. I don't know if you can see him or not. You've come to a better sense of what it is that's important to you, for you. You know more about who you are, what you want, what life is like for you specifically, right? Maybe you've let go in the future of some of those, you know, and this is just an aging thing too. So if you're young right now, then this makes a lot of sense. But even if you're not, you know, you've come to a better sense of ease into which you move through the world, right? You're not as afraid to just be yourself. You're not as afraid to to do what you need to do for yourself, right? You prioritize your own happiness now in a way that, like I said, it's not like you're actively harming people around you. I don't see that at all. It's just that, like, you're on a mission. You know what you want out of life, because you know how to be happy for you. You've discovered what makes you happy, right? And maybe you've stopped trying to find quote unquote universal happiness, or you've stopped trying to do what is right based on what you think is right from society, and now you are in this phase where you really realize and recognize what lights you personally up. And you now can go with the flow in life a lot easier. And because of that, you're able to connect into, how to build this wealth for yourself with the Father of Pentacles. You've built into how to navigate the world in a way that makes you feel stable for you. You know a little bit better about what kind of living situation you want. You know better, all of these things. You've got a better idea because you're connected more into your heart. You're connected more into, connecting into your heart and mind together with that Two of Cups here. And with the Nine of Pentacles, she's a very abundant person normally depicted on that card, who's in her own private garden, basking in the finer things of life. So you've achieved this level of stability and, financial independence where you can have nice things. You're not afraid to give yourself nice things in the future because you know that you're in a stable place. You're not as afraid about, where your next paycheck is coming from, that kind of thing. I feel like you've gained a sense of a level of financial independence where you don't have to worry about that as much. And maybe it's just a mindset thing too, because you have the Empress card, which is the divine feminine energy. And I really feel that for you. You've tapped into the divine feminine energy, which is all about receiving, being open to receive. So in order to really, if you're looking to make money specifically, but if you're looking to gain abundance in any form, you have to be open to abundance in order for it to come in. You have to practice the art of opening yourself up to receiving. You have to be able to accept gifts, from the universe, from people, accept compliments, be open to accepting praise, in a way where, it doesn't mean that you're a selfish person if somebody compliments you and you accept that compliment and you say thank you, because I feel like you're also a very giving person. I feel that, and maybe you've been overly giving. That tends to be the thing about the Empress in reverse, which I know it isn't there and I don't read reversals, but I feel like the negative aspect, the negative energy of the Empress card can be the divine feminine who is too giving, who is who doesn't feel like they deserve to receive, who feels like their only way that they can the only way they can feel accepted in the world is by giving and over giving because of that, because no amount of giving will ever feel enough, because they're looking for external validation from others. And so you get locked into that cycle where you find the people who just take, right? Because there's both out there in this world. There are those who give and don't know how to receive, and there are those who take and don't know how to give. And I feel like for you, especially with the Two of Cups here, this future self is coming in to say like, hey, look, I found the balance now. I found the balance for how to make this work in a way that is, giving me happiness, in a way that I have this stability here, and it's all built off of this foundation of like knowing who you are and what you want, and not really giving an F about it one way or another, right? I'm looking at the rainbow horns here, and as I'm talking, it's making me think about the LGBTQ community, LGBTQIA. If we want to give them all, let's put them all in there. You don't necessarily have to be a part of this community, but the whole thing about it is like, I happen to be a gay person, so it's just a perspective that I have. It has universal applications, though, if you think about it from this perspective. The idea that like you are unquestionably yourself, and you're unafraid to come out to the world as who you are, and this is just who you are, give it or take it, right? Like that's the philosophy. It's like, hey, look, this is who I am, and I am not afraid to be who I am to the world because, you know, I want to be happy, and I'm going to follow my happiness as who I am. I'm not going to pretend to be anybody else. Even if that makes some people uncomfortable sometimes, it makes me feel more comfortable because I get to be every aspect of myself, and I have that self-acceptance that I share with myself. I'm getting that idea from this. Like I said, you don't have to be a gay person to understand this. Like, take this philosophy for yourself, you know? It's like, take it to the larger metaphorical level, where it's like you have become unafraid of, you know, those quirks that you have that you thought maybe looked weird to other people, and so you suppressed them because you thought that that was a bad thing to have, that, you know. But at the end of the day, it's like that's what makes you unique and beautiful, and your future self has fully embraced those aspects, and because of that, they're in this, you know, ability to gain abundance. You know, they're in the abundant energy, they're in the flow of the universe, they're in you know, they've come into contact with the Tao. If you believe in if you've subscribed to Taoism, it's this idea of being in the flow of life, you know, and you can't explain it, right? Like any attempt to explain the Tao is not the Tao, right? Which means, like, any attempt to try to give definitions to falling into, you know, the way of life, it's always going to be an intellectualization, when in reality we're talking about an experience. If you've ever, like, experienced being in the flow of life, it's like, it's not necessarily something that I can explain to you. Like, I can try to talk about it, how I feel being in the flow of life versus not being in the flow of life. But it's more of something that you yourself personally have to find and feel. And I feel like that's what your future self has found. They found their groove. They found their, you know, their rhythm, and it's being very successful for them. They're totally, you know, I feel like your future self is this, like, total badass who, like, is not afraid to follow their own happiness. They're not afraid to share love and compassion with themselves, right? You are sharing love with yourself. And that's a part of the message coming in. Like, your future self wants to share this love with you, saying, like, hey, look, like, you can love yourself fully, 100%, for every aspect about you, even the things that you know, you feel like are flaws right now. You know, those, some of them maybe are flaws, some of them maybe aren't, but even so, that doesn't change the fact that you are 100% deserving of love in every capacity. And that that love that you have is something that that you can give to yourself, and that you know, by denying that love from yourself, really all that you're doing is hurting yourself in a way that is counterproductive. Like, you can love yourself, you can be proud of yourself, you can sing yourself praise in a way that is not totally narcissistic, right? And I think that a lot of us, you know, especially if we've grown up in certain environments around different people, or we've, you know, for whatever reason, I know I'm kind of this way myself, where I you know, I tend to put myself down a lot, you know, in a way, because I feel like I'm being impolite by expressing happiness over my own talents, right? I do that all the time. I consider myself Harrison Bergeroning my way through life sometimes, which, if you've read that short story, I don't remember who it's by, but I had to read it in high school. Harrison Bergeron. The idea of it is, like, it's this dystopian future where people with talents, artistic abilities, are like, and intelligence are given these, like they're required by the government to wear these, like, headphones and shock collars and things, and anytime they say something intelligent, or they have an intelligent thought, or they express themselves creatively, they're, like, shocked, or you know, put radios in their ears so they can't concentrate and stuff like that. Like like, as much as I think that short story is supposed to be some kind of political message on, like, the future government getting in the way of, I don't know, stuff, I find it more applicable in my own life, of, like, what we do to ourselves. And I think society, in a certain sense, has taught us to feel this way, right? That, like, oh, if you are, proud of your own talents, then you're being selfish, or you're being a narcissist, or you're being stuck up. When I don't necessarily think that's the case, right? Like, you have to be able to see your talents and know fully your own abilities in order to thrive in life, right? Like, your talents, your creative assets, your whatever it is for you, your business sense, your intelligence, whatever, leave it for your own situation. There is something unique and special about you specifically that is incredible, that is beautiful, that is exceptional, that is unique and important to this planet. And that's why you're here. That's why you're here. If there's something at the back of your mind that you just know you wish you could just do, and you just don't know how, but like, oh, this dream, this talent of mine is just something, this thing that I love, I just wish I could do it all the time. That drive, like that desire to just do that, right? That desire is an inkling from both your future self, your higher self, your guides, your angels, the universe, however you want to conceive of things, the things that are beyond you, God, whatever, you don't have to be religious, but whatever that is, that's a spiritual urge. That's a nudge of what direction your soul wants to follow to be happy. And your future self is saying, hey, I've done that. I'm following that now. And that makes me so happy, and they want you to know, like, hey, this is so doable. This is so achievable. You 100% can do that. It's just, like I said, a matter of maybe breaking off from groups. I'm getting the sense of maybe you're a part of a group right now, a group of people who have a certain mindset that is not good for you or healthy for you, and you might need to go off it alone in order to find your own happiness. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with going it alone for a while to figure out who you are and where you want to be. And then you'll start attracting the people who are on the same page as you, instead of forcing yourself into groups of people who don't think like you, but think like the way you think you're supposed to think. You know what I mean? So here's 4 cards from the Universal Waite deck. We got the Knight of Pentacles. So many pentacles here. Oh my gosh. Oh, I remember, I saw these cards before. The 8 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, yeah, and the Empress. So wow, you got 2 doubles. I did not know that before. That's pretty cool. So you got the 9 of Pentacles twice, which, remember, I was talking about your own private garden here. You could take a look. Here's the illustration of that. See how she's just like really, really basking in this beautiful garden, but she's alone in this garden. And you know what? She's kind of okay with it. Not even just kind of, she is thriving. She's like and I'm not saying you have to be single necessarily to do this, but like, she's like one of those people who's like a super single person, you know what I mean? Who's just like, you know what? I am a badass on my own, and I love who I am, and I'm just thriving with life, That's who she is. And like, you've got the Empress here twice, which is really about being open to the flow of the universe, being open to receive, being open, in order to become abundant, you have to receive these. Maybe it's receiving that inspired idea that leads you to start a business, or leads you to, to write that creative project that becomes a success. Whatever that is for you. I don't know. It could be anything. To write that album, to create that artistic work. Oh, weird. Hearing in my right ear stopped for a second, and I think it's back. That has never happened to me before. So I think that's a sign from somebody. Your future self, maybe. Weird. It was like a pressure change. That has never happened to me before. I don't know what that means. Look that up online. What does right ear, hearing in your right ear stopping mean spiritually? I'll let you look that one up. Means something. I'm on the right track, I think. But yeah, like really you being in the open flow of the universe, you being open to receiving, like in order to gain this thing, it's like you have to be open to the idea coming in. You have to be open to, being in abundance. You have to be open to getting out of any kind of poverty mindset you might be in, which is just like learning how to trust the universe, learning how to trust that, okay, I can build this, I can build for myself. I know that it's okay. Whenever you catch yourself worrying and then say, 3 great things about yourself, developing a practice of mindfulness or something like that, where you start to understand, like, okay, I can see my thoughts better now. I can see when I'm having these thoughts about not having enough. Now let me counteract those with my own messaging, something like that. But I feel like you're going to get to where you want to go with the 8 of Pentacles here. It is saying you're going to have to put in some really hard work here. So don't think it's just going to happen out of nothing. But the thing about being in this balance with the Empress is like, she's open to receiving, she's open to having it come in. And she, like I was saying, like, you also have to be in balance with your divine masculine, where you know when to take action, right? It's small steps, knowing when to take little steps in order to achieve the bigger goal. But you can't take any steps until you know which steps to make, right? Instead of just taking steps, you have to be open to the inspired action. It's inspired action. It's like you have to have the idea first. You have to be into the receptive mode. So, once you're in that, I think that maybe you have the ability to build a business. You have the ability to build whatever this wealth and stability is for you. You do have 100% ability to create this for yourself. It might take you a long time. It might take years. But if you're dedicated to it and you keep putting the work in, it's small steps at a time, and you'll have small achievements throughout that. It's like, learn when to celebrate the small goals and the small achievements that you get as you move forward. By celebrating those small little achievements, you'll give yourself, the gifts that you need as you take the time to build what you're building, right? So I do think that you have the ability to really make it where you want to go. It just might take some time, but that's okay. You're going to get there. And that's why your future self is really coming in to say, like, hey, you have the ability to get here. We can make it to this place. It's just a matter of you putting in the work, which is totally achievable, totally doable. And the final card that's a tarot card here is the Knight of Pentacles, which is this idea that, to me, the Knights are all about what movement is happening through this reading. Where is the energy moving? What category is the energy moving in? And for you, with it being in the Pentacles, which obviously, it's like, this is all about Pentacles here. It's movement in the material, movement in abundance, in money, in physicality, in health, in all of that, all of those aspects. So I see that is really in your favor for this. It's like you're moving in that direction. You're moving in this way towards stability, and your future self is coming in to say, like, hey, we made it here. Like, this goal that you have, even if it's tiny in the back of your mind right now, or if you've been working on it for a while, either way, like, we made it. You're going to make it here, right? And so it's like, enjoy the process as you go, right? Enjoy where you are now, because it's not just about making it to that destination, right? It's about every step of the way that happens. So this message is coming in to let you know, like, okay, you can relax a little bit in knowing that you're going to make it to where you want to go. So you don't have to feel like any of that sort of energy about being scared, or like, oh my God, is this going to even work? Or, ugh, am I stupid for even trying, or any of that? Like, you can let go of that. Like, be assured that you're going to make it to where you want to go. So enjoy the process, because it's probably going to take a while for you to get to there, but it's not like your life isn't going to start until you get to that point, right? It's like your life is happening right here, right now. Your life is happening in this moment as you and I are speaking together, and not just your future self coming in. So I get that instance for this too, is like, really enjoy where you are now, and really enjoy the movement that it's taking to move here, because it's all about the journey that you're on. So learn to love and cherish each step of the way. Have the faith that you're going to make it to where you want to go. Like, you're definitely making it there. There's no question about that. So enjoy it. Enjoy the whole process. You know, your story is your story, and it's meant to be lived and loved, even the challenging parts. And sometimes things are going to be challenging. You know, this journey isn't necessarily going to be all roses, but if you work hard at it, you're going to get to where you want to go. So now we're going to read your oracle cards. We'll start with the Shamanic Healing Oracle. You've got anger. Wow. Anger is an interesting one. So, you know, I got a lot of messages about self-love. So I think maybe you've been in a position in the past, either right now or before, where you've been kind of angry at yourself. Maybe you've been angry that you're not further along than you want to be right now, right? Maybe you felt angry that things weren't working out the exact way that you wanted for whatever this project is, or business, or idea, you know, and maybe you've blamed yourself for that. And, you know, this message from your future self is really coming in to let you know, like, hey, like, you're never going to get to where you want to go if you're not fully embracing and loving every aspect of yourself, even the parts that are challenging, you know. I'm going to read from the book for this, because this book has a really great passage about anger here, and I think that that'll be really important for you to hear. A very strong and primal emotion, anger sometimes catches us by surprise. At other times, it seethes just under the surface, simmering a long while until it boils over, scalding anyone who is close. Anger is based in fear. Fear of loss of control, fear of not being loved, fear of being judged, fear of not being enough. When anger enters your life, be it yours or someone else's, go beneath the surface and try to address the real fear that has triggered it. Anger doesn't go away without addressing the underlying fear. Alternatively, be aware of someone's anger directed towards you. Yeah, so I just think this is coming in to let you know, like, in order to get to where you want to go, you do need to address that anger that you might have for yourself. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy, you know. Like, I felt angry towards myself a lot, you know, in life. And frustrated and confused and all of those feelings. I felt a lot of feelings. You know, we're human. We all have feelings. So I feel like it's important for you to give yourself the time and the space to feel your feelings deeply, and to really allow yourself to have some time and space to feel those, right? And maybe that's kind of where some of this, you know, I was talking before about maybe being in a lack mentality, and, you know, sometimes this kind of thing can add to that, you know, and you know, it's difficult because, you know, I watch a lot of these kind of videos on YouTube, and I listen to a lot of different spiritual things, and, you know, there's this whole idea of the law of attraction, right? And like, our thoughts shape our reality. I do firmly believe that, but there's a bit of a fear, I think, of allowing ourselves to feel our feelings because of that, right? Like, we're afraid of manifesting the things we don't want in our life by feeling sad, or by feeling anger, or by feeling our emotions. And so, you know, we try to repress those because we're afraid of what they're going to do to our lives by feeling those things, right? Well, that's not going to help you, because at the end of the day, if you don't feel your feelings, you're not getting rid of them by burying them within you. You're actually strengthening them. You're making it stronger. You're making it more of a thing, and you're putting in a mental and subconscious block into your whole being by doing that. So in order to release feelings, you have to feel them. You have to give them time and space in your conscious mind, where you say, okay, like, I'm gonna just sit down now and just feel these, and I'm asking myself, let's come up with all these things. Maybe do some kind of free writing. Free writing is great for that, where you just sit down with a pen and paper and just write whatever comes to your mind without any expectation of doing anything with it. In fact, you know, once you're done writing, you can burn it, you can throw it out, you can get rid of it, never read it again, but just like give yourself the presence of saying, okay, I'm going to be totally present with my feelings right now. I'm going to be totally present with these negative emotions because I need to get them out of me. They are wreaking havoc in my life by me not addressing them. So let me address it. Let me feel it. Let me see this. you know, and then you can do whatever you want to with it afterward. It's like, you don't have to let it control your life. You're just giving it the time it needs, you know. You're let yourself have a little tantrum with yourself, right? Sometimes little small children need to cry things out, and that's just where they are, because they feel their feelings fully and they're not suppressing them yet. And so, like, with a little child who's having a temper tantrum, right, that doesn't say anything terrible about the kid, you know. That doesn't say like, oh my god, this child is a horrible demon child because they're crying. Like, no, they're a child, like, of course they're crying. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to give them space, and then when they're done, they cried it out, and then that's it, and then they're okay, you know. So it's we're just overgrown children. Like, we're no different than toddlers. The difference is that we've learned sophisticated systems within our minds to not think about the things we probably should still be thinking about, right? And in fact, you know, we think that that's a sophisticated way of dealing with our emotions, but actually it's just burying them within us, and then we just have depression or something, you know what I mean? We're just like, why can't I get out of bed? Why do I hate life? Why do I hate everything? Well, because you're not feeling your emotions. You're burying them, and, you know, now you're sitting. And I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not here to talk to you personally about your own depression. If you are feeling depressed, I do recommend seeing a therapist. Just as someone who has seen a therapist before, and has suffered, I've suffered from pretty massive depression and depressive periods of my life, so I just want to be pretty clear about that. It is helpful to talk to somebody who has the tools to help you work through it, but on a certain level, you know, that's part of what this is, though, is like, that is psychology. You know, we have to feel our feelings. We have feelings. We're human beings. We have emotions, that they're built into our entire physiological mechanism. They're there for an important reason. Even if we don't fully understand them, we've evolved these feelings, so they're here with us, and they're a part of our experience. And, you know, give yourself the space to have those. Especially with that double Empress card here, you know, your nature. I feel like your nature is in the divine feminine, whether you're actually male or female, it doesn't matter. We all have the divine feminine and divine masculine aspects to us, but I think that you are actually in your element in the divine feminine, which is very watery, which is very much in tune with your emotions. So to release this anger, you have to really go within and give it some space. And it might be scary. It might be scary to waltz through those emotions, but be present with yourself while you're doing it. Don't talk to anybody while you're doing it. Be alone, you know, in that hermit space. Be on your own, and just let them come up and feel them out, you know. And then don't feel guilty for thinking what you're thinking, right? Remember, we're writing things down and then we're throwing it out. It doesn't matter what's on that paper. It doesn't matter at all. You're getting it out of your internal subconscious system and you're throwing it away. And that's it. And that's it. It doesn't have to say anything about you, one way or another. It doesn't have to say a damn thing. So next up we have, from the Healing with the Angels Oracle card, you got friendship. So that's so interesting, you know. With all of that being on your own, being alone stuff, we do have the friendship card. So I think that another part of this is, like I was feeling, you know, be really conscious about who you spend your time with. Really. Like, who are you spending your time with? Do they, and like, I'm not saying you have to be totally judgmental about all the people around you or anything like that, but do be discerning on who you are spending time with, who you're helping, who you're, you know. There's that saying that we are a blend of the 5 or 6 people we spend the most time with. Oh, and my voice is not working very well right now. So I think that maybe there's some throat chakra blockages. Maybe there are people that you're spending time with that you're not speaking your own truth with. I feel that for you. I feel like maybe you're friends with people that you are trying to impress, or you're people pleasing, or you're just spending all your time with people who, you know, who actually don't share your values. And, you know, it's okay for us, like, it's important for us to be open-minded and to, you know, be kind to everyone, to be compassionate people. But a part of being kind and compassionate to yourself is recognizing what people aren't good for you. That doesn't mean they're bad people. That doesn't mean they're not worthy of being, loved and accepted and everything. But you are well within your right to walk away from friendships who are not serving you, who are hurting you, actively hurting you, right? You're well within your right to walk away from people who have really negative mindsets, who are, who just hate, who just hate. I had a bunch of friends or just acquaintances I spent a lot of time with for a while, who just hated everything. And that united them, it's this shared passion to hate straight people, or to hate this group of people, or to just oh my God, I can't believe they blah, blah, blah. Just ugh, I can't do that anymore. So I had to walk away from a lot of people. Cause that's just not where I'm at anymore, So I feel like a similar kind of thing for you, be really careful about who your friends are. And that doesn't mean you have to be afraid of people. It's the complete opposite. It's loving yourself enough to know hey, you know what? I can appreciate you. I'm glad that you're here. I'm happy that we've spent time together and maybe we've had a lot of fun in certain aspects, but I need to prioritize my own mental health. I need to prioritize my own personal being. I need to prioritize this future I want to build for myself. And that means I got to walk away, and that's okay. And when you do that, right, you'll be able to attract the people into your life who are more on the page that you want to be on, right? Who are more in line with who you are, who you really are, because you're not going to feel the need to people please. You're not going to feel the need to just make sure that everybody likes you, right? It's not worrying about whether somebody doesn't like you or not, right? Because if you are shaping your whole being in order to please someone else, you're not being yourself, first of all. And there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like you. There's no way for us to make the world like us fully and completely, every single human being on this earth to like us. Because think about that. There's so many people who are not on the same page as you and who will never be on the same page as you. And that's fine. That's okay. I think that we're all valid people. We're all, it's important for all of us to live together equally as a group of people living on this planet. But at the same time, I don't think we all have to agree. We don't all have to have the same point of view. And we are totally well within our right to walk away from people who don't care about us, And so if somebody isn't going to like you for being yourself, then why would you want to be around that person? Why would you change who you are so that they are more comfortable, instead of you leaving a relationship that makes you uncomfortable for being yourself, right? Doesn't that make sense? I know it seems, it's so crazy, that shift, because I've been there. I've so been there. But at the end of the day, it's there's always going to be somebody who doesn't agree with you. There's always going to be somebody who really doesn't like you. So you might as well make that person somebody who doesn't like you. If it's a person who just doesn't like where you're coming from, and they're never going to like where you're coming from, and if you are who you are will make them walk away from you, then okay, that's a draw. That's fine. You know what I mean? I view that as okay, great. We're on the same page. Goodbye. It's hard to get to that point sometimes, but once you make it there, it's oh, I don't even know why I even cared so much in the first place. You know what I mean? And I feel that's kind of where your future self is coming in with that. Is that idea that it's okay. It's okay to just be who you are, and let people fall away. Let people fall away. That's fine. That's fine. Because like I said, you'll find the right people. They will come into your life. But if you are totally okay on your own, with or without them, then you're going to be much more aligned to attracting in the right kind of people for you than by trying to make yourself into something that you're not, just so that people will like you, because then you'll never be happy. You will never feel happy. You'll never feel accepted that way, because you're not accepting yourself. If you don't accept yourself fully for who you are, you will never feel accepted. You just won't. And no matter how many people, even if you become the most famous person in the world with, you know, as many followers as are physically possible on all social media sites, you got tons of people giving you praise and comments every day. If you're not your authentic self, that will not matter one minutia. You will still feel alone, and you will still feel unaccepted. And this is just coming from personal experience. Like, I'm not the most famous person in the world, obviously, but I tried to change who I was to become more popular for a while, and it was the most hollow feeling experience. And I did not know what was wrong. I didn't get I was even doing that, but I was. And, you know, now I reached my own personal breaking point. And these are the insights I gained from that. It's like, you know what, at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't accept and love yourself, then you're always going to feel empty, because that love and acceptance has to come from within. It has to. If you just seek from it from others, no amount of love from someone else is ever going to be enough. It's just not. But what's great is that you totally have the ability to give that love to yourself. And once you do that, then you can find people who love and support you for you, and you'll both be on the same page. And then it's like, then you'll have this cumulative effect. But then it means too that it's like, when people leave your life, I'm sure it's still going to hurt. It always hurts when people leave your life, but it won't be a life-changing, drastic, emotional deal as much. You know what I mean? Like, because you'll still have that foundation of self-love to fall back on always. And that will always be there. Your final card you got is from what is this? This is How to Be a Wildflower deck by Katie Daisy. It's got a symbol on one side and a quote on the other. So we'll do the symbol first. And it's this terrarium, but it's like, look at this beautiful environment that's within a bottle, and it's crying. I'm getting suppressed emotions, actually, from this, because we talked about that anger. You know, I feel like this is further confirmation. Look, there's a rain cloud inside, but it's trapped within this bottle. So it's like, you got to pop that cork to let out the rain cloud. So then your terrarium won't be a sad place anymore. Your inner self won't be this sad crying, because you'll just be able to let it out. And when you let it out, then it won't be inside anymore. And then you'll release it. Once you release it, it's gone. You know, that's what a part of healing is. I do think that some deep emotional healing is really going to help you. So you might want to do some looking in. I'm super drawn right now, just looking at it, to this guitar, or lute, or whatever instrument this is, and the friendship card. So maybe music, healing music is so helpful. You know, be aware of the music that you listen to, right? I'm a musician. I love all music, and I accept all music. But sometimes, you know, some angry music can put you in the wrong place. Although maybe if you need to get your anger out, maybe channeling some angry music might help you. You know, that helped me once. I was just in this like super pissed off mood when I was young. I mean, I was 19, 20. I was 20. When I was 20. Oh my God, that was a bad time in my life. I've had many bad times in my life and many good times, but that was just a very emotionally challenging moment in my life. And I just remember I was like, I don't know, I listened to Nirvana, which isn't particularly angry music, but I just like listened to this, I think it was whatever album Bleach is on, and I just like listened to it over and over and over and over, and that was helpful. You know, that angsty teen kind of stuff. But I don't know, your goal is to release this. So, I mean, I've heard that like you should listen to happier music, you know, sometimes too, but music can help channel emotion. So if you really are looking to get anger out, or you're looking to heal wounds and maybe get sadness out, any of that kind of thing, get fear out, maybe do listen to some music that will help with that, and then transition into some more healing music. There's really, really great, like you might have come across them on YouTube. They're like healing tones. They're frequencies that are played behind music that help channel, you know, feelings and things, and bring your consciousness into a different mood. And they actually work. I mean, I've used those, and it could just be something that's just relaxing music, you know, the way that just listening to a stream works in relaxing you. But any of that kind of thing, I think, could be really helpful for you as well in this. Just search on YouTube healing frequencies, and you'll get a bunch of music that way. I do that all the time, and it is actually really, really helpful for getting past different feelings and moving on. So I feel like maybe a little bit of that would help you. Let's read the quote. All things grow with love. Yeah, growing is a big thing in this. You know, as you're building abundance is translated into growing. You've got the garden imagery. And the way to get to where you're going, like I said, is to really tap into that self-love. Like, you're going to get where you want to go, but the only way to get there is to love yourself, is to not be angry with yourself, but to love yourself. And so, you know, getting the anger out is the goal. And so it's like you gotta go within and just see where it's coming from. You know, like the card was saying, anger is connected to fear. So what are you afraid of, right? What are you afraid of? And that might be scary to look at, but once you look at it full in the face, then you can move on from it. Then you can start healing it. You know, maybe you have to forgive some people. Maybe do that. I do sense you need to leave some groups of people behind. That's not going to be easy. But if you put in the work, right, with that 8 of Pentacles, you'll get to where you want to go. Things will grow with love. They will grow. It might take time. It's going to take a whole lot of self-love. But if you tune into that energy of loving yourself, accepting all parts of yourself no matter what, being there for yourself, making the moves that you need to make for your own happiness, if you do all of this, you're going to get to where you want to go, and you will be happier that way. With that 9 of Pentacles, or 9 of Cups, you will become a much happier person by being in that energy. And it's like, you're not delaying the happiness, right? Like this energy, this 9 of Cups energy, is something you can do this instant, but it's going to take you, you know, you probably have some subconscious blocks, you know, some modes of thinking. Well, I can't be happy because of this. Well, I can't follow my dreams because this person told me this once and now I can't do that. You know, so any of that, whatever it is for you, you know, you can get out of that mindset. It's just, you got to pick it apart within yourself. You got to pick it apart. You gotta, I saw this really great illustration once, a couple years ago on the internet that was like, you know, it was all about, it was a person seeing a psychologist, and they had this huge tangle of knotted twine in their brain, and the psychologist was pulling it out of their brain and wrapping it up into balls of yarn. So it was like separating all of the tangled mess that was inside and separating into these beautiful colored yarn balls, right? So that's kind of what might need to happen with you. You know, and maybe you've already done a lot of this work too. You know, you might have been working on this for a long time, or you might be at the first steps of this. Either way, you have the ability to do this. And I know for a fact that you do, because it's stuff that I've done personally, right? Like I was saying, I've been in some very, very, very depressive moments of my life. I've been stuck in thinking ways that were stupid, you know, just very self-defeating, self-limiting beliefs. I've had so many of them, you know, and like, you know, I talked about the LGBT community before, in that, you know, I talked about the positive aspects of it. Then there's some negative aspects about that community too, you know, in the sense that, like any community, I think any group that's an in-group, you know, if you're trying to be a part of the in-group, to feel accepted, you know, I don't care what the group is, you know, it could be anything. It could be the chess club, for Christ's sake, you know what I mean? Like, whatever that is, if you are giving away your own power, if you are saying, I don't care about my actual desires. I'm going to change myself to feel accepted by this group or by that group or by these people or by that people. Just by doing that, you're doing yourself such a huge disservice, because what makes you special is your own unique self. And if somebody doesn't like you because you're not conforming to the group, then screw that person. Like, who cares about their point of view? It might seem like they're so important right now, and especially too with social media, it's crazy, like how easy it is to get stuck into that conformity circle because you're just reading people's blurbs and thoughts over and over and over and over again, and that can be really destructive. So just like watch who you're following on social media. And I had to do mass unfollowings. I had to unfriend people even. I unfriended so many people because I was just like, I'm done. I cannot do this anymore. Like, I cannot keep reading these people's thoughts. Like, they don't. I was friends with so many harsh people, so many people who were just like not on the same page as me. I'm just this like really loving, compassionate person. I try to be, and I don't need to tell you too much about myself. But anyway, it's just as a relation of like, be really careful about whose thoughts you're reading every day on social media, and if they're really harsh and they're really not vibing with you, then, mass unfollow. I did that. It's great. You have the ability with social media platforms. I mean, it's hard to totally control what content you see, obviously, but you can totally unfollow people. Like, unfollowing's easy because nobody knows, So yeah, anyway, I don't mean to tell you how to live, but I'm just saying that's what's helped me a lot. Is like, I'm not reading all of these opinions of people who I feel the necessity to conform my own identity to anymore. Like, I don't care that they think the way they do. That's fine. Like I was saying, more power to everyone for having their own opinion, for living their life the way that they want to, for feeling what they want to feel, but for acting the way they want to act. We all have free will on this earth plane. Like, that's the point of this experiment that we're all going through day to day, is having total free will to do anything, to feel anything, to try anything. And obviously some things are going to hurt us on all levels, physically, on a soul level, emotionally, spiritually. We can make so many choices to hurt ourselves. We can make so many choices to heal ourselves. We have total freedom to do all of that. But you have the freedom in your own personal life to come into your own personal power and walk away from people, things, situations, stuff that are not helping you. And you have the freedom and the power to heal yourself emotionally. You have the freedom and the power to connect into your own inner self and heal whatever needs to be healed. And like I said, you could be well within your journey on this, and I'm just giving you little reminders, or I'm telling you how far you've come, or you could be at the very beginning, the first steps of this journey. Either way, if you are a person right now watching this video who is incredibly depressed, feels catatonic, can't get out of bed, is that level depressed? I've been there. I was there, let's see. I was there in 2017. 2019, I think, was probably a pretty low point. So I really started doing the work. I started seeing a psychologist. And I didn't see them all the time. I saw them a few times. It's going to depend on your situation. I do recommend seeing a psychologist. They are so helpful if you need one, if you're that depressed. But I got out of that, and I would say within a year of I gave it my all. I gave it my everything. And especially too, if you're trying to manifest this material stuff, but you're really depressed, like, heal yourself first, right? Do your self-love first. And then as you do that journey, then your inspired action will start coming, and you'll start to see ways to come out of this. But that was my project. My project was healing myself emotionally. And I just was really, really, really dedicated. I did everything I had to do. I did as much research as I had to do. I watched, 3 million tarot videos like these all the time. That's about when I found these videos and started really diving in. So many different things. And that's kind of where my spiritual journey kind of took a major transformation. But I'd say it took a year, 2 years tops. If we want to go back, from my worst points in 2017, so maybe like 3 years, 1 to 3 years. And I did so many other things in that period, and I've started building a business. I've done all these other things. I've been creative again, doing my art and all this stuff. So, this wasn't the only thing I was doing in that time, but I'm just letting you know, if you are at your lowest point right now, you can get out of it if you put in the work, and it doesn't have to take forever. And that might feel like a long time right now, but trust me, like a year, especially in these times with COVID and everything, a year is just an instant, So you might as well just take the time to heal yourself, because then you'll be able to do everything you want to do so much easier, Anyway, pile number 1, I think I'm going to leave it there. I didn't mean to get so far in a tangent. I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if this resonates with you in the comments. I do love hearing from everybody. If you would like a private reading with me, I know we went pretty in depth here, but I can get way more specific about things. If you have specific questions, we can talk about specific relationships, job ideas, choices, anything. You can find my readings on my website, junodrum.com. There is a new Facebook and Instagram page. You can follow those at Junodrum Tarot. And then there was something that I keep forgetting to talk about at the end of these videos, and I don't remember what it is again. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It does help me out a lot. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000, which is so exciting. We've broken the 800 mark, which is really phenomenal. I'm going to be doing some giveaways and some exciting announcements at the 1,000 mark, I hope. We'll definitely be doing giveaways. I'm not sure what I'm giving away yet. So, tune in. You know what I might be giving away some obsidian. I've got this beautiful obsidian I collected myself from this wonderful place called Glass Mountain in Oregon that was just phenomenal. So I'm going to be giving away a little bit of that, whether it's a big chunk like that or a smaller chunk, I'm not sure. So that'll happen at 1,000. So subscribe if you want. It does help me out a lot. And anyway, pile number 1, that was a big reading, but it was really in depth, and I'm really happy about that. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you later. See ya. Hi there, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading for messages from your future self. This is kind of a popular topic I've seen from tarot readers on YouTube, and I've never really tried it before. So this is going to be our reading here for what are the messages from your future self. So we're channeling in to pile number 2. What messages? Basically, this is a version of you from the future that is giving you important messages today. So it's like there's something in particular about where you are right now, about what's happening in your life currently, that aspect of you from the future is really looking to convey information to. So we're leaving it very open. We'll see how this goes. Pile number 1 was really good, so I'm excited to see what we got for you. But you chose the pile with this lapis lazuli, which is a really wonderful stone. I'll put that aside. So we're starting out with 3 cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. We've got the Son of Swords, the Sun. Oh, beautiful. It's rare for me for the Sun to come out in this deck for whatever reason, so every time I see it, it feels very new to me. It's really beautiful. And the Ace of Cups. Wow. So this future version of yourself is interesting. There's 2 kind of new beginning cards coming, and then there's Sun energy. So it's almost like you know, your future self is coming in from this very shining, happy place. But with this beginnings energy, it's almost like the journey that you're starting right now is going to lead you to a place of deep fulfillment, you know, in like the bright sunny day. Like following your sunshine is going to bring you to this place. And I'm getting the feeling from your future self that, you know, they're in a position where they have found a sense of happiness, and they are at a place where they're getting a lot of creative inspiration. So maybe this is kind of where you are now. You're starting out in a place where you're like, well, how can I become more creative, or how can I get more in tune with this creative process? You know, I feel a little bit of that from this Son of Swords, and I'm feeling a lot of energy of like, yeah, a lot of school vibes. I don't know if some people might be learning something new. Like I'm getting that. Let's get some more cards, because I'm getting. Yeah, okay, I'll just trust my intuition. It's like this future version of yourself is at a point where it's like you've got a new start. So it's like, I don't know if you feel really stuck in something right now, because it's like, I don't think the new start is happening for you. Like, well, we all have the opportunity to have a new beginning and a new start, but it's almost like maybe that seems like impossible to you or something. Or who is ever tuning into pile number 2, it's like maybe you feel blocked from starting over, or you feel like you're really locked into a certain way of thinking, and feeling and doing, and it's almost like you aren't open to a new process of allowing. And so that's where your future self is coming in here to say like, hey, look, it's okay to change your mind about something. It's okay to change your perspective on something, because the swords are all about the mind and the mental body. So a lot of times the Son of Swords is someone who's having new ideas come to them. So it's like, it's almost like your future self is wanting you to know that you have the ability to open up your perspective to something completely different. That you don't have to be stuck in a certain way of thinking, that you don't have to be stuck in negative thoughts or a certain way of doing something, or just, I'm getting that feeling from it. Like you have the ability to open yourself up to something new. And with the Ace of Cups here, it's like that new open energy is going to bring you a new beginning towards new happiness. Like you have the ability to be truly happy, maybe, you know, in an area where you haven't been in the past. And that's kind of your future self is coming in from this sun moment saying like, hey, this is totally possible for you. It's just going to take you maybe thinking about things in a different perspective. So, you know, hopefully this is resonating with you. Well, let's look at some more cards to just get a better picture, because it feels very specific, but I feel like that's important. This is for someone very specific, so we got to go with that. Yeah, 10 of Cups. Okay. 3 of Swords. Okay. 9 of Swords. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting a better picture of this now. 5 of Cups. Wow. Okay. Some really intense energy. And the 3 of Pentacles. Yeah. I think that you may be in a really rough place right now. So I'm getting some spillover, and I was before too, of pile number 1. There's a little bit of energy of pile number 1 in this too. So who knows? I've noticed for some of my readings that sometimes I'll just catch on a theme, and then that's kind of the theme for all of the piles. So I don't know if this is going to be the case for all of it, but there is some spillover energy in pile number 1. I'm just going to put that out there. So there's potential that will resonate with you as well. So you might want to check that out. But for you, I feel like either right now or in your recent past, you have been kind of going through it, right? You've been going through the ringer. Especially with that 5 of Pentacles, which is, you know, it's all about a perspective shift. And this new idea, new perspective thing is really coming in clear. You've got the Heartbreak card here, the 3 of Swords. You know, and normally it's depicted as 3 swords that are stuck through a heart. So it's like there are 3 swords piercing your heart. What's interesting about that to me is it's like heartbreak is something is really difficult to go through, or we're feeling, it's like heart blocked, right? Heartbreak to me is us blocking off our heart center, our heart chakra, from the rest of our being. So it's like we block ourselves in order to feel safe, right? When we go through a really emotionally traumatic experience with another person, be it a relationship or, you know, some kind of relationship, family, romantic, whatever it is for you, you know, when we go through a period where, you know, maybe we lose trust because of events that happened with someone, we lose the ability to be able to trust people, or even more important, we lose the ability to trust ourselves, right? That's kind of what the Three of Swords is about to me. And it's like, in order to try to protect our heart and to protect ourselves, we put a wall around it because we think that will make us feel safe. But ultimately what that wall does is it actually blocks ourselves from being able to feel our own hearts. So we block our own capacity for connecting in with love and the love of the universe and the love of source, but also just our own self-love, our love of ourselves, you know, and then we enter into this kind of difficult, loveless period. And then the Five of Cups is kind of this grief card, and it's very similar. It's a person who's crying over 3 cups that have spilt in front of them. But what's interesting about the Five of Cups is the Five of Cups is this ultimate perspective shift card. Generally speaking, it's like the idea with it is that yes, it is challenging and difficult that those 3 cups have spilt for them, but in reality, there's still 2 cups left standing behind them. And in fact, it's talking about how now is the time to change your perspective, to start to see those cups behind you and to realize that not all is lost. And in fact, the 2 cups that are behind you give you the opportunity to have a clearer picture of what you want and have a better ability to cherish the things in life that are really meant for you, that you've lost things from your life that maybe weren't the best for you. And so I feel like that's something that you've gone through. Either you're going through it right now or you went through it in the recent past. And so your future self is coming in to let you know, like, hey, you might still feel this heartbreak. You might still feel depressed. You might still feel difficult energy. And then you also, by the way, you also have, I should talk about this before I move on, you have the anxiety card as well, which is the Nine of Swords, which is normally depicted as a person who's waking up from nightmares. They're haunted by their past traumas, and those traumas are hanging over them continuously. And they don't know how to move on from them. And so it's a card about anxiety, generally speaking. Anxiety is it's a hard thing to wrangle with. Ultimately, the way that you get through anxiety is learning how to come back to center. You know, mindfulness practice really helps. Meditation really helps. I know that, you know, it's not always the easiest thing to hear that, you know, because a lot of times mindfulness and meditation practices can be hard to start. You know, I certainly understand that. There are some days where you just don't feel like doing anything, and it's really hard to get into the rhythm of doing a meditation practice. But, you know, all it takes is 5 to 10 minutes a day. You know, if you can give yourself that much time to just clear your thoughts, you know, try to think of nothing. And it's not even about having to purposefully not think of anything. It's just whenever thoughts come up, you see them and you let them go, you know, and you become really aware of your thoughts. You become aware that you are more than just the thinking that's happening in your brain. You're actually the awareness that sits behind that. What that means is that you are actually the being, the entity, the person, the sentience that is perceiving the thoughts that are coming through your brain. And you don't have to identify as those thoughts. which is nice, because if you suffer from anxiety like I do, you know, what's great about mindfulness is you start to realize, like, okay, I'm recognizing now that I'm having anxiety. For me, the biggest thing about anxiety is that you don't even know that you're in it when you're in it, you know? And your mind goes down these, what if this happens, and what if that, and what if this, and what if that, you know? And then you kind of get really lost in that. By practicing mindfulness, you start to say, oh, hey, look, I'm doing this thing again. I don't need to go down that thought train, you know? And then you can start to just kind of gently, you know, move yourself around. Or like me, even today, probably about 10-15 minutes before I even started this video, I actually caught myself going down a little bit of a shame spiral, you know? Sometimes I go through those where I didn't even realize it was happening, but I was being kind of harsh on myself. And I'm really proud of myself tonight because I actually caught it. And I was like, oh, wait a second. I don't need to be mean to myself about any of this, because I know, based on personal experience, that me being mean to myself about this is not going to help change the situation one way or the other. It's not going to do a damn thing whether I'm mean to myself or not. And in fact, by being kind and gentle with myself and understanding with myself, I actually have the ability to allow myself to thrive, right? I allow myself to create the conditions in which I, as a personal being, can thrive, instead of, you know, getting lost in anxiety. And the way to get out of it too is, it's like, it's so easy to then let that be another thing that you put yourself down about, right? I'm not telling you to do that. Do not do that. Don't feel bad for having anxiety. It's very natural. I don't know how we can move through the world as it exists right now without having a little bit of anxiety, you know? Just a little bit of something. I think literally everyone at this point is having a little bit of something, right? So don't get hard on yourself for that. Don't put yourself down for that. And in fact, your higher self is coming in to say that, you know, like, your higher self still experiences anxiety. I'm sure of it. Not all the time. And I'm sure that they're able to catch themselves, you know, but they have it too. And so it's like, be compassionate to yourself, be kind to yourself, understand that even though you have it sometimes, it doesn't have to dominate your whole being, right? And so those are kind of the three big ones: grief, anxiety, and heartbreak, that are really kind of, I see as your blockages right now. And they don't have to be huge. They don't have to be as extreme. I mean, these three cards are very extreme cards. And sometimes the tarot, you know, I'm designing my own tarot deck right now, and I'm just entering the swords right now. And I'm getting this understanding, you know, with doing swords, like, where I'm like, I don't want to alter the imagery because I think it's important and symbolic and meaningful, but sometimes the swords can be really harsh in a way that they don't necessarily need to be. And so it's like, there's just no, to have these, like, you know, super anxiety and super heartbreak, you know, and it's very intense imagery in order to get a point across, right? I don't know what extent whoever watching this is, because remember, these are general readings, so, you know, this is going out to a bunch of people. I get the sense that there is a flow in this energy, right? It's like, for some people, this is just very light, you know, and for others, it's more intense. But I think that even for those of you who feel like maybe this happened a long time ago, or this isn't really dominating your daily experience all the time, I would question a little bit of that. Because a lot of times, this kind of thing, these emotions, right? These are the intense emotions. And a lot of times we don't allow ourselves to feel our emotions. And so maybe if you're feeling just blocked in general in life right now, your higher self is coming in to let you know, like, hey, the way to get out of this blockage is actually to uncover within you these three root causes of the blockages, right? I think that's what they are. They're three roots of this, where you're afraid to let other people into your own heart. So by doing so, you're actually not even allowing yourself to be in your own heart. You're in grief over the things in life that you've lost, be it yesterday or be it 12 years ago. It's sitting there, and so that's dominating your entire perspective. It's maybe giving you a subconscious level of negativity in your viewpoint on the world, right? Maybe you're feeling nihilistic. Maybe you're feeling a little bit like, well, what's the point? Like, I don't understand. And then sometimes you're just like lost in heart palpitation, anxious thinking, anxious being. And, it's a combination of all of those things, and you don't really know the root of it. And so, I think that it's time to go within is kind of what your higher self is coming in with, to say like, hey, you don't have to continue these cycles that are maintaining these within your daily life, and in continuing that, you actually have full power to change that. And in fact, your future self is coming in to say like, hey, I've done this work. I'm coming into you post work, right? And that's what it is. So that's where the new beginning is coming in. I was feeling that. I was feeling like your future self is at the new beginning, right? And you can get to that new fresh start, but it's gonna take going in and getting it out. And I felt this for pile number 1 too, so I'm going to talk about my own experience, because I think that's why this message is coming from me specifically and not another reader, to you, is I have my own perspective on life, and like, this was me. I've been here. I've been in all of these. And now I'm at the new beginning, right? So it's almost like, it's funny. It's like your higher self is coming to me because I am where they are, So it's like, I am where you are. I'm where you're going to be. I'm where you can be, right? And that's kind of not to, like, it doesn't mean I'm better or anything. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. It just means like I've done some really deep personal self-work here. And so I can tell you, just as a person, from person to person, whether you want to believe in your future self is talking through me or not, and it's just me talking to you. I know for a fact that you can get out of depression because I've done it, right? I know for a fact that even at your lowest point, your lowest of the low, that you can continue in life. And it's not instantaneous. I'll tell you that, but it does happen, and it happens slowly over time, where you don't even really necessarily notice that you're happening. But if you do the work, right, and you've probably heard this before, people saying to do the work, right, and that can be confusing. What doing the work, quote unquote, means is like putting in work on yourself by trying to heal emotionally, spiritually, physically, giving yourself the time and the energy and the space dedicated to all of that in order to do that. And you're not alone in this either. You don't have to be alone in this too. And that's where these other cards are coming in. So I think that this work, if you do this, if you allow yourself to start to change your perspective, and changing your perspective can't happen overnight either. But you can take steps, you can start uncovering your heart and following your intuition. And step by step by step, by following your intuition, you move yourself along the path towards your whole self, of coming back into contact with every aspect of your being, calling your power back into you if you feel defeated. It's like taking those steps to get closer and closer to all that you are. It's not something that happens instantaneously, but if you take step after step after step, each step that you take towards yourself, you will feel better every step of the way. So it's like you will be rewarded every step of the way by feeling better, by doing better, by becoming more and more comfortable with every aspect of who you are. You have the ability to do that just over time. And when you do that, you open up the door to your own dreams. You open up the door to everything that you want. you open up the door to this ultimate happiness card here, which is the Ten of Cups. And with the Three of Pentacles there, you know, that's telling me that you don't have to be alone in doing this work. And in fact, you know, the Three of Pentacles is normally like three people coming together to build something bigger. And then the Three of Pentacles to me is also about building a solid foundation. So it's like rebuilding your foundations. And I feel like that's the most resonant message in this for you from that card, is like you have the ability to rebuild your foundations much stronger than they've ever been. And by doing that, by allowing yourself to just go back to basics, you know, I had to do this. I had a real tower moment back in 2019 where, you know, for so long I had been like really trying to make stuff happen. I was trying to make music. I still write music, and in fact I'm still doing things, but you know, I had this idea of really wanting to write this album, and I had all of these musical ideas coming to me, but I wasn't really thinking, you know, I was just trying to force it, and then I was being so hard on myself, and you know, I just entered into this spiral where I wasn't taking care of myself, and you know, and then I had all of these addictive tendencies, and I just wasn't wanting to face myself in any real direction. And you know, everything around me collapsed. You know, I just like lost touch with certain friends, and you know, just all of these things, you know, and it was a real dark moment for me. But then I realized that, like, you know, I had to do this thing where it was like, okay, do I want, like, well, first I had to release all expectations. I had to release the whole project I was working on, and I had to be like, you know, I would rather be alive than have this project, you know, kill me, you know, because I'm not going to finish it, you know, either way. You know, I kind of felt that. And so it was like I had to have a release moment where I just kind of held up my hands and said, you know, okay, like whatever's meant for me is meant for me. You know, I found many of these readings, you know, and they were so helpful for me. All of these readers on YouTube, and a part of why I do readings myself now is just like YouTube tarot readings saved my life, really. You know, I feel that way. Okay, so pile number 2. You may notice that the lighting has changed because, man, unfortunately, at a certain point in this video, it just cut off, and I don't know why. I'm going to be constantly looking at this. This is the first time that's ever happened to me. But just to make sure that we're continuing to roll here. So I got to redo this reading and get back into it, which is unfortunate. Thankfully, the first half is still there. So I don't know, whatever, something I said needed to not be in here or something, I don't know. So we'll just tune back into your energy. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to re-give you these cards, and we'll kind of get back into where we were with things, and hopefully I can finish up this reading in a way that gives you a lot. So this is messages from your future self. So we already know, we're already halfway through the reading. Let's just read what else we have. We've got the Five of Pentacles. Yep, okay. We've got the Sun again, right? You have the Sun twice in this reading, which is so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Whenever a card comes up twice, it's the most important message in the reading. And so for you, you know, it's really coming in to let you know, like, hey, regardless of whatever difficult situations you're going through, and I don't remember how much I talked about that, so you might get a little bit of repeat messages in this, but it's just what we're going to have to do. We've got the Queen of Cups, and we've got the Temperance, correct. Okay. Yeah, so, you know, with this energy that you've got, right? I hopefully I got to the right of this, but it's like these three here are, you know, this sort of the blockage, right? The blockage that you're in, that your future self is having this new beginning, this awakening into a new perspective. And it's like, in order to get to that, you have to clear out what's there, right? You have to clear out the gunk. And that gunk is coming from, you know, really difficult situations that you've been through, this heartbreak, you know, this grief, and this anxiety. And all three of those, though, are cornerstoned by these two cards here that are giving you a really great opportunity to change your perspective. You know, with this Ten of Cups here, it's the energy of, you know, this ultimate happiness. So it's like ultimate happiness is available to you. It's just, it takes this Five of Cups change of perspective that I hopefully mentioned to you. So, and then, you know, what you've got here is the Three of Pentacles, which is all about building a strong foundation. So what the goal of your future self, why it's coming in here to say is like, hey, if you're feeling stuck or difficult, or there's some stuff here, and remember, I think I said this to you already, but if you haven't heard it yet, you know, there's this idea that you could be at any level of this, right? This could have been stuff that happened 20 years ago. This could have been stuff that happened yesterday. But if it's stuff that happened a long time ago in the past, I think maybe you've already moved through a bunch of it, but there could be a lot that's stuck in there. And so that's why I mentioned getting Reiki healing done might be really helpful for you. I'll mention that in a bit, and your Oracle cards will also mention that, which, it's too bad. There was this really great synchronicitous moment where I mentioned that you need to get energy work done, and then one of the Oracle cards suggests you getting energy work done. So that was just mind-blowing to me that you'd never get to see. But let me talk about these cards. So remember, you've got the Sun twice, so you've got a lot of love and happiness coming in for you here. It's always available. It's like you have, what did I hear? Somebody on YouTube was talking about this idea that it's like, you know, we always have love available to us. It's the foundation at the base level that we can connect to always, but we sometimes are holding up with these emotions an umbrella to the sun, so we don't see it, right? Because we're holding up this umbrella. So the objective for you, in order to break into this, you know, your future self is saying, hey, you can let go of some of this stuff, and it's so much easier said than done. Trust me, I know that. But you know, one of the things I was talking about was that, like, this is a part of where I was, you know, not that long ago. A year or two, 2 years, 3 years tops, you know, definitely like 4 years ago to 2 years ago was my lowest depressive point in my life. I've experienced depression at multiple moments in my life. I've experienced difficult situations. And then I also live in the Pacific Northwest, so I suffer very heavily from seasonal affective disorder. So in the winters in general, I end up getting a bit depressed anyway. But sort of about my mid-range for moving here, I moved here about like 7 years ago. Right about in the middle of that, I just started getting hit with this like super depressive, mixed with my own personal depression. And so that was just, it made it really hard for me to navigate the world because of that. And getting out of it is it's doable. It's just going to take you releasing the things that are blocking these different energy points. And that's right. I was talking about how, you know, you may consider getting energy work done, because I think that you're definitely blocked in the heart chakra. And you may also be blocked in the throat chakra, because I was having trouble speaking last time. So when we talk about heart chakra blockages, and I might have even gone in on this, so if I'm repeating myself once again, I'm sorry. What's interesting about heart chakra blockages is it's like we block off our heart to try to protect ourselves from it getting broken again, but ultimately the only thing that we're doing in that situation is we're blocking off our heart from ourself as well. And so, you know, you don't want to protect yourself to the point where you're breaking off your own connection to love, because that's only going to hurt you. That's not helping you. That's hurting you. So in fact, we want to open up our hearts again, be able to be open, and then be discerning in certain situations. We want to have boundaries with people. We want to learn how to have boundaries and how to trust our intuition to the point where we're seeing red flags, how to trust ourselves to the point where we can walk away from situations. And I can't promise you're never going to break your heart again, but when you learn to open yourself back up, you'll start to see and recognize the importance of love in the first place, of being in a place of love, how much deeply important that really is to you. So with this Queen of Cups here too, I really do feel like that's a part of who you are. You know, you've got this divine feminine who's a very giving influence aspect. I'm sure you know, we all have feminine and masculine components to our being, because we're alive. You know, all human beings do. It doesn't matter what your gender is, or how you identify. It has to do with how you flow through the universe in a comfortable way. And, you know, for you, I think you're very giving. I think you're a very nurturing person. I think you love to share emotionally with other people. And sometimes, we can just give, and if we're not open enough to receive back, that can cause a lot of problems because feel depleted, we feel lost, we feel like we've overgiven, and then we don't really, especially if you're not connected to your own sense of source or love or the universe or connectedness. If you don't feel connected to that, because your heart is broken, and you're blocked off from that, then you're just going to be giving, and it's not even going to be feeling good for you anymore because you're just over giving to the point where you don't have anything left. So yeah, I just think, pay attention to that. And, you've got this Dark Night of the Soul card here, which I was thinking initially when I was talking about the Five of Cups to you for the first time. Just checking to see that we're continuing to record. I'm going to be paranoid about that from now on. What's interesting about the Five of Pentacles is it's like you end up at this dark night of the soul point within you. You end up in this like very deep, dark, this is the worst that's happened to me kind of a situation. And the thing about it is it's like, that is the point in which you then connect in to this sort of sense of spirituality. So I think that, you don't necessarily have to be a deeply spiritual person, but connecting into your own inner sense of spirituality, connecting into your own inner sense of interconnectedness for the universe without anybody else's definitions. This isn't about me, and my ideas. This is about you connecting to yourself fully, your own internal self. That can be a very spiritual experience for you. And by doing that, like, that's going to reawaken you into changing your perspective in this Five of Cups card. Learning how to see the world in a new way, learning how to see your life in a new way, becoming sort of this new open person, which is where your future self is coming in and say, hey, I've done this now. I've cleared out this. And this could be your future self in 3 months. This could be your future self in 2 years, whatever. Like, the timeline doesn't matter. And I think before I was talking a lot, and I might have talked to you about this now, about it being, it's only going to take you, it only took me 2 years, so it only took you that long. And I don't, I want to change that. I want to change that. And maybe that's why, this video cut off. It gives me an opportunity to change what I'm saying about this. Ultimately, I think that it doesn't matter how long it's going to take. If you put in the work, you will heal. Right? Your healing could be the rest of your life's journey, or it could be the next 2 months. It all depends on you and what you want to do. And there's no right or wrong. There's no requirements. There's no, nothing. It's just all about how you can feel comfortable building a sense of wholeness within your own inner being. And that's what's important. Your future self is coming in to say, hey, I've done it. So that you're going to get there, right? That's the biggest thing. It's like, have faith that you're going to be there and you will get there. And sometimes it's just the truth of knowing that that's where you're going that will get you there. That's what's going to keep you through on the difficult days. And we all have hard days. I still suffer from these things. I didn't totally heal myself completely from them because I don't know if you can. Anxiety is such a huge part, I think, of my own personal genetics, right? It's my family ancestry is where a lot of this is coming from for me, because we've had difficult things in the past. And that's something I talked about in the last section that I think I need to talk about for you too, is this idea that maybe some of this stuff isn't even coming from you, right? Maybe a lot of this stuff is you churning through your ancestral traumas. And it's going to take you to heal them within yourself and release them, more importantly, release them from your own inner being. And then that will allow you to come into something new, right? It's like, in order to get to this fresh slate part, there's probably a lot of things you learned from growing up, because your parents taught you how to do things a certain way, because that's all they know. And maybe, it's going to be up to you to change that, and maybe this relationship or whatever it was worked out so poorly because, you had codependent parents, or you had parents who taught you how romantic relationships are supposed to be in a way that was really not good for you, that was really harmful. And so, I get that sense from all of this. It's like that's a part of your journey here, is not just releasing the stuff that's happened in your own past, but, really taking the bigger picture and saying oh, there's ancestral trauma I need to change. There's poor family dynamics that I don't want to maintain anymore, that I want to let go of moving forward. You know, that kind of work can be really helpful for you in getting to this new point. And then the final card from the tarot is this Temperance card, which is, I always relate it to that old adage, when life throws you lemons, make lemonade. That's what that's all about to me. It's this idea that, like, sometimes difficult things are thrown at us in life, and instead of letting them bring us down, we can find a way to transform that energy into bringing us up, into helping us, into moving us forward. And maybe there are situations that will come to you in the near future, in the larger future, that might on the surface seem like challenges that maybe before, you know, would have just given you the excuse to give up, and instead will give you, you know, the inspiration to keep moving. You know, always keep moving, always get up. You know, like that's important. You know, even when you think you're at your absolute lowest and there's nothing you can do, you give yourself a break, right? Like if you need to take a break, do it. If you need to take a break in depression, do it. You know, but don't wallow for too long, because it's gonna cloud everything. You know, it always does. And then it'll be harder to understand things. But, you know, take the time you need to take to heal. Take the time you need to feel your emotions. Take the time you need to move through things. It's so important to take as much time as you personally need, because you're living your own life here. You know, you're moving through things on your own, and it's up to you to figure out what that means. This is your life, this is your journey, this is your cycle, and it's open to you to do whatever you need from it. But just know that healing is here for you. It wants to come in. So let's keep doing, now we'll do the oracle cards here. You got 2 from the Angel Oracle. We've got support, oh right, yeah. And we've got balance. So that balance card is really, to me, is this idea of really coming back into a sense of internal balance. You know, and that's one thing I mentioned that I don't know if you got or not, because it cut out, but, you know, in order to get to this point where you've cleared out, in order to do this internal clearing work, you know, to do the shadow work that you got to do, it's so important to come back into a sense of balance. So if you're trying to make something happen, if you've been trying to work on like 300 projects and you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that, and you can't do any of it, and you're so just upset with yourself, and you know, all of that, blah, 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 let all of it go. Let all of it go. If a project is meant for you, it will find you again. The most important thing for you, the most important mission for you, is to just take as much time, you know, like I'm not telling you to quit your job or anything, like work if you need to work, you know, but just do the bare minimum you need for your survival on the external, and then take the time to learn how to have a healthy routine, you know, learn how to get to sleep on time, you know. Apparently we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night in order for our bodies and our minds to reset our entire system. And if we don't do that, we start to become unhealthy physically. We get sick easier, all of these things, because our body physically needs 7 to 8 hours a night of sleep, which is, you know, it sounds like a lot, but it's required, and you have to have that whole amount of time. So learn how to give yourself that amount of sleep. If you need to go to bed earlier, fine. If you need to sleep in more, figure out how to do that, you know. But doing that internal balance, physical balance, getting back into that, you know, learn how to pamper yourself when you need it. Learn how to, you know, come home and just take a nice shower and, you know, spend an hour or two just like, you know, trying out these facial products and, you know, doing all that, you know, whatever it is, you know, give yourself lots of time and lots of love and lots of space, because that's what's required for healing. It's lots and lots of self-love. Self-care is so important for you. And then, you know, it's here to tell you too that, like, even if you don't feel like you have a lot of support on the external world, there is support for you in the spirit realms, whether you want to believe in them or not. You know, even if it's as simple as just the universe is looking out for me, you know, repeating that adage to you instead of thinking the universe is out to get me. Think about the universe is conspiring to help me. And then you'll start to see those signs. It's all about perspective with that 5 of Cups here. It's like, it's up to you to interpret the external world, and how you interpret the external world is gonna like continue along the things you start to see around you, right? It's not about, like, our brains are designed to filter out most of the things that happen in your life, right? There are those rare few people who have these incredible crazy memories where you can give them a date from 30 years ago and they're like, oh, I remember I was wearing a red sweater and I was walking to work and blah, you know, like most people aren't that, you know. Most of us, our brains can totally and completely filter out our day-to-day experience, and we only remember the things we subconsciously deem as important to remember. So it's all about retraining your mind on what to focus on, retraining your mind on what is important. And so, you know, when you start to think that the universe is conspiring to help you, you will start to see the signs in your external environment that the universe is helping you. That's how connecting to spirit teams work, you know. If you wanted to get into that kind of work, which you maybe with this Dark Night of the Soul card, maybe spirituality is something that's opening up to you. You know, it doesn't have to. You don't have to subscribe to any of that. But if you wanted to, you know, you can start to see signs by, you know, working out, you know, what is a sign for you. You know, for me, sometimes signs are birds flying past my window and I'm just watching 3 birds fly right past me as I'm talking about that. You know what I mean? So maybe that's something for you, you know, whatever it is, you know, you work it out. You know, sometimes people see numbers like 111, 222, you know, things like that. Or, you know, for a long time, I was just reading billboards and, you know, taglines on billboards would just be totally applicable for my situation. And like, you know, sometimes it was like, you got this, or like, love is all around you for Valentine's Day or something. You know, it was just like, I was getting things like that. It was just like, whoa, this is amazing. So, you know, you've got that available to you. And maybe that's a part of the work that's really going to help you, is just like tuning into that, you know, just like ask for a sign, you know, you can do that. I just heard a car horn outside. That's one of my signs whenever, especially during a reading, you know, that's like a confirmation. So ask for a sign and you'll find one, you know, just do it. You know, you just say, okay, to my spirit team, whatever, give me a sign so that I know you're out there, and then let go. It's not going to happen immediately, right? Just let go and then walk around in your day-to-day life and just be open to seeing them. And then they'll come in. It's true. Happened for me. So anyway, your final card is from the Shamanic Healing. Actually, no, there's 2 more. This is from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it is healing energy, which is so applicable. I read from the book. I'm going to do that again because there's a lot in there. I think that's good for you. It's just good. Drawing this card guides you to work with energy on a healing level. Take a class, go and receive a Reiki healing. Now, I really do think that Reiki healing would be so good for you, because what happens is that, you know, a Reiki healer will connect into the energy centers that exist in your body, and the heart chakra, which is one of those energy centers, for you, I really do think is blocked. And how you get through that, right? When the energy healer works with that certain part of your body, it will, at least this is what happened for me. Because I'm aware of my body. Like, I've done a little bit of meditation work too, so that helps me. Like, I know how to feel my energy centers. You might want to do a little bit of research first on the energy centers in your body. There's wonderful YouTube guided meditations to work with each energy center, just to do that, to familiarize yourself with which ones exist and just what it feels like in your body to tune into that energy. Okay, so we cut out again. Oh no. Thankfully, we're just about at the end of your reading, so this is, I'm glad I'm checking currently. Yeah. So, you know, just look into Reiki healing and then look into meditation as well. There's a, I don't know if I mentioned it to you or not, but there is a great ancestral clearing meditation as well. But Reiki healing is really great. You tune into the energy centers of your body and you'll understand things at a larger level. And that's what's really going to help you, I think. So your final card is the Star here. And you know, the star is coming in to show you like, hey, look, here's this shooting star, right? You are the shooting star. It's also like the sun. Sun is a star. So you've got this beautiful, wonderful starlight energy coming in. And the quote on the back is, you are magic. And you really are, friend. You really are. So anyway, I hope that this reading resonates. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments what you think either way. I love hearing from everybody. If you would like a private reading with me, I have them available on the website at junodrum.com. There's a new Instagram and Facebook page, so follow those at Junodrum Tarot. And finally, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps. We're in the 800s now, which is pretty amazing. And when we get to 1,000, there's going to be some awesome giveaways. So tune in for that, and I will see you soon. Later. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. This is going to be your reading for what are the messages from your higher self, incoming messages from your higher self. Sorry, your future self. So I've seen this done by some readers before, and I thought I'd try it out. This is my first time doing a future self reading. The idea of this is that we're going to be channeling messages that a future version of yourself wants you to know. So this is going to be a future version of yourself that is very echoing tones from your life now. So wherever you are in this particular moment, your future self has something to say about that and needs to talk to you about it. So you chose the pile with this rose quartz stone, which is such a great, loving, kind energy. One of my favorite stones. And pile number 2 had a lot of technical difficulties, so I'm hoping I don't have those here. I'm going to be periodically checking my camera just to make sure that it's still recording, because we had some recording issues with pile number 2. So I don't know if it's something about to do with my phone. I recently dropped it and the screen cracked, and it's a whole big ordeal. But I won't bore you with that. Let's jump into the reading. So we've got a lot of tarot cards and then some oracle cards. First 3 come from the Wild Unknown Tarot. This is incoming messages from your future self. We've got the Empress. Okay. We've got the Ace of Wands. Wow. And we've got the Daughter of Pentacles. So great. Right off the bat, your future self is coming in with this new start. They're in a new start energy. So it's either you are or they are. Very similar, interesting. Both, you got similarities to 1 and 2 here. Pile number 1, pile number 2, which is kind of fascinating. I don't. It's definitely different though too. We're getting a different energy. But you know, if you felt called to either of those, maybe we'll keep reading and see. But I definitely feel like your future self is coming in with this like bright, creative oomph, right? This just like pew, creative energy is just popping in here. It's like your future self is totally 100% in line with their desires, in the sense of like what they know their life purpose is, their path, you know, like they're totally and completely aligned with the path that they want to follow in life. And they are unafraid to jump at their creative urges. I just feel very creative. This is a very creative pile. So I don't know if you're an artistic person or someone who is working on some kind of project, but I feel like this is a future project that's coming through too. It's like you're channeling this future project that you've been, maybe like your dream project, or, you know, it's been sitting at the back of your mind. The Empress is all about being in the divine feminine, which is in this very receptive mode, but creativity comes from being in an open place, right? It's like you're an open channel for this creative inspiration to flow into you. And I feel like your future self has tapped into that flow, and they're here to bring you like the steps towards it. You know, it's like if you are in a position right now where you maybe feel a little far away from that, or you feel like you're a couple steps removed, and we'll see the rest of the cards to get an understanding of what that would be. Your future self is coming in to say, hey, this is, you know, that thing that's in the back of your mind that is like a daydream of yours about where you could be someday. You know, you're just like, lightly, slowly dreaming of some aspirational career, because we have the Pentacles here too, which is all about money, but it's the material world. It's like your dreams that you imagine made material. It's a new beginning in both of those areas that's maybe being offered to you by your future self. Like it's saying like, hey, if you make the choice now to follow your dreams and to follow your intuition, because the Empress is very intuitive, to follow those nudges, those passionate pleas from your soul, you know, like if you decide to follow those, like that's going to be really, really good for you. So let's look at some more cards here to get a better understanding. You've got 3 cards from the 1JJ Swiss deck, and we've got the Knight of Pentacles, okay, the 7 of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands twice. Holy moly, moly, moly. Okay. Wow. Every pile so far in this reading has gotten 1 card twice. So whenever a message comes up twice in my readings, that's the key. Like that's what you really need to know. That's like the most important. Like if you just wanted 1 message from this reading, in 2 seconds, your message is the Ace of Wands, which is a new beginning, following your passions, right? It's that creativity that I just feel is just like so present. And with the Pentacles so heavy, it's like your future self is coming in to say, hey, okay, you've got this daydream. Okay, it's living in your brain as an idea. It's living in your brain as maybe a potential. They're coming in to say, hey, you can realize this potential. This is totally and completely possible to you. You've got the Knight of Pentacles, which is all about movement in a direction. It's moving towards, it's the energy that's moving through the reading. That's how I interpret the Knights. And so with it being in the Pentacles, that's saying that the energy of this reading, the movement, the change that is occurring in this reading is all about your material self, your material world, the physical world around you, where you live, how much money you make, where your health, your physical body, all of that stuff. And so it's like your future self is urging you to take physical steps. But remember, you have the Empress here, so your future self is being depicted as the Empress. The Empress is very open to receiving. So this is like getting into that abundance energy where you're open to receiving abundance. You're open to, you know, you don't necessarily have to follow X, Y, Z steps in order to get to outcome, right? It's like leaving all of that kind of blurry, leaving that all kind of open so that inspired action can come in, so that happenstance and freak occurrences can happen to like help bring you towards where you want to go. Like it's being open to that spontaneity energy. But then with all of this Pentacles here, it's like, but at the same time, you are developing a plan for like, okay, I want to get to here. I don't know how to get to here. I understand I don't know how to get to here, but this is where I want to get. So I am now going to use this open flowing energy to start taking a few steps to figure out how to even get there. Okay, maybe I need to take a short class, you know? Okay, maybe I need to start watching YouTube videos on people who have gotten to where I want to go, talking about where they've been, you know? Okay, maybe this means I need to read a book about how to do this project, you know? Write that script. Okay, you know, paint that painting. Okay, you know, write that album, whatever that is for you, you know? It's like, okay, you have this vision, you have this idea, now let's make it manifest. Let's put in the steps to make it work. What do we need to do? You have the Harvest card here, so it's like, you know, with the 7 of Pentacles, that's kind of about, you know, you've put in a lot of work and you're almost ready to sow your rewards, but you still have to put in a little extra work in order to get there. So I feel like for that, it's sort of like you've been ruminating on this for a long time, I think. And so it's like, okay, now it's time to start taking steps. Even if you don't know what those steps are right now, you don't have to have every step in your mind in order to take the first step, right? You just have to have the first step in your mind. What is that? Okay, maybe it's research. Okay, so I'm in the research phase. That's fine. Let me read, you know. Oh, well, I'm gonna, you know, I want to write this album. Okay, I'm gonna listen to as many songs as I can that make me think of this. Okay, so I can have inspiration. So that means maybe I'll start a Spotify playlist and I'll start putting all those together. And then, you know, my morning commute is gonna be listening to these songs over and over again until I get an idea, you know. know, it could be in that vein, you know, whatever that is for you, whatever your artistic venture, your project, your whatever. Okay, I want to start a business. Okay, I'm going to start, you know, watching all of these YouTube videos of people talking about, you know, different business things. Okay, maybe I will look into a small business class, or, you know, whatever that is. It's like you're on the verge. Your future self is saying, when you take those steps, you're going to get to where you want to go. It's just a matter of you starting to take the steps towards there, because if you never take the steps, you're not going to get there. It's just going to be living in your mind, and that can be really frustrating, just speaking from a personal experience. You know, it can be very frustrating to have these visions of where you want to be and just like not know how to get there. I totally empathize with that. I still don't know how to get to where I'm going, but I know where I'm going, right? I know where I'm going. I know 100%. And so, you know, I'm going to keep taking steps towards it. I'm going to follow my intuition, follow those nudges. You know, if that means I need to take a master's class, I'm going to do that, you know. Fun fact, master's class is only like $180 for an entire year, and you can watch all of them, which is pretty amazing. That is something I'm planning on doing at some point. But, you know, could be anything like that. Whatever it is for you, there's something in that vein of like doing some research, you know, and you know, it's important to remember too, it's okay to be at the beginning, right? It's okay to be at the beginning of a process. It's frustrating to be at the beginning of a process, but it's okay to be there, right? Sometimes you have to start at the beginning in order to build the momentum that you need to get to where you're going. Sometimes starting, you know, a lot of the times I feel like starting is actually the hardest process, because when you're starting, you've got a lot of work ahead of you and it can seem really daunting and you don't really know how to do it. And so you kind of put off starting, but the more you put off starting, the more you put off everything. And, you know, then you get stuck in life as procrastination. So, you know, even if this means, you know, if you're a writer and you're trying to write something, you know, just write 6 pages a day of nothing, you know what I mean? Or something like that, you know, just like, it's more about this idea of you getting into the practice and a little less about the outcome. Don't focus too hard about the outcome right now. Start focusing on, how do I build my routine, right? Like, okay, I have this routine of working this amount of time every day. You know, it's what I'm running into doing these videos. It's the exact same thing, you know? It's like I'm telling myself, okay, I have to do these videos a little bit every day so that I can give these readings the amount of attention I want and need to give them, without burning out by spending an entire day doing 4 1-hour readings. Like, that's too much. But like 1 reading a day, it's a little bit easier. So, you know, break that up, try to build it into your routine. You know, this week I had technical difficulties and a bunch of issues, and, you know, I'm going to put this up a little bit late, but you know what? I'm still doing it this week. I'm still posting it. I'm still going. Like, even you're going to have off weeks, right? You're going to have weeks that don't work out. You're going to have weeks that, you know, oh, I wish I put in more work. But you know what? Even if it's just putting in the bare minimum, getting it done is better. Like, and even if it's like, okay, this week was a loss, what I made, the outcome was not what I wanted, like, whatever. You still did it. You still put yourself on the schedule. You still put yourself into it, right? So it's like a combination of both of those things, being open to the inspired action that comes from being spontaneous, but having a very set schedule for, you know, allowing it. It's like, it's you mixing with the universe, right? I think creativity is totally, it's like, it's us combining with the great whatever, you know, it's a total combination of forces. So it's like, you have to get your physicality here, because we have both the physical and the fire inspiration. We've got both present here. You have to get your physical body, you know, your ego self mind to the table, so that the inspired action can flow into you with this Empress card and the wands. It can flow into you and through you and out onto the page, out onto the canvas, into the guitar, out onto the piano, whatever your craft is. You know, I feel like you have some kind of craft, even if it's forming a business, out onto the spreadsheet, you know, whatever. Like, in order to get there, you have to give yourself the the discipline. That's it. Yeah, you have to build within you the discipline to keep going. And of course, give yourself breaks. Of course, give yourself off time. Of course. But sometimes that can feel a little hard when you're at the beginning because you're afraid, oh, if I take one day off, then I'm just not going to want to start again, which is totally something that happens. That happens to me all the time. But you know what? I still keep getting up. I still keep going. If you have an off week, don't torture yourself about the off week. Get back up, get back on the horse, and keep going and pretend like nothing ever happened, right? The more that you do that, the more that you keep building that, the more it's going to build momentum, the more you're going to get it out of you, the more you're going to have it. Okay, we got a lot more cards, so let's keep going. I like this reading. This is great. I feel that energy. It's like your future self is like, hey, I've developed this very disciplined, rigorous routine to be creative and spontaneous. I need you to help me get there, right? It's like you know, getting to the point where you're not putting it off to the future, right? It's like your future self is saying, hey, I'm here to thank you for not putting this off onto me. You actually are the one who did it. And now I can look back on my past self and thank them for taking the steps to get me to where I needed to be, right? It's like, it's changing that. Instead of procrastinating it off to a future version of yourself, it's the opposite. It's giving your future self the gift of having done all of the work, you know? And they're here to thank you for that. I like this. This reading is good. There's a lot of fun energy. This is really good. Okay, you've got the Page of Swords. Let's see if I can move these up a little bit. I might cut them off, but hopefully I'll get them all in here. Page of Swords. 5 of Cups. Okay. King of Swords. I don't really read reversals, just so you know. The 2 of Cups. Wow, okay. And the Lovers. Okay, so, yeah, so this is good. This is a turn in the energy. It's like, okay, so that was part 1. Now we're on to part 2. Totally different story coming in here, which is cool. Now these cards are kind of talking a little bit about where you're blocked and a little bit about how to fix that. So you got both the 2 of Cups and the Lovers here. Whoa, these are very, very similar cards. You can see there's very similar imagery in the Rider Waite deck, which is great. Like, I love that it came out in this deck because you can totally combo the energies here. Let me see if we're still recording. I'm really paranoid about the camera shutting off because of pile number 2 now. Okay. Look see this winged angel symbolism. We've got that going on. The 2 people, we got that going on. You know, this can talk about coming into union with other people, but I don't see that for you. I think this is you coming into union with yourself, right? I talked a lot about that, bridging the gap between, on the one hand, being open to the spontaneity in order for the creativity to flow into you, and on the other hand, building a strong routine, day-to-day actions. Both are required in order to make this happen. And so it's like, but the universe is working with you, right? When you are creating something, you're co-creating with the universe, right? Whatever this project is, whatever this idea is, whatever this spontaneity is, it's a co-creation with the universe. The universe is really wanting to work with you. And in order to do that, right, the universe will work with you and start giving you the inspired action and the inspired ideas into the time frame that you need it to flow into your life, right? Well, think about it, right? Really think about it. We develop natural schedules that we don't even think about, that we follow all the time, and things work out in that way, right? When we're going to school, right, as children, we have to get up at a certain time. We have to show up on time. We have to go to this class at this time. We have to go to that class at that time. If you're an artistic person, you probably did really well in art class. Well, think about it. Did the universe come to you in art class? When you were making your art, were you creative in your art class? Were you able to make that happen? Well, guess what? That art class happened on a certain day of the week at a certain time each time, and guess what? The universe showed up in the creative form to help you on each one of those art classes. So if you develop for yourself a schedule where it's like, okay, my time for writing is at, it has to be, if you have to do a little bit each day, like think about it. Okay, I work an 8-hour shift and I get home at 8 p.m. and I'm totally exhausted, but you know what? I'm going to give myself a minute. I'm going to take a shower. For me, I have my meditation practice. I'm going to sit for 10 minutes, clear my thoughts, and I'm going to write for an hour. And I'm going to do it each week at this time. I mean, because for me, it's like doing my videos. I'm doing them when I get home because it's the only time I have to do them. I'm going to sit and I'm going to do them each day of the week after work. Even though I'm exhausted, I'm going to do it. And you know what? I get really great readings that way, and I am able to push through it even though I'm tired. And then, I go to bed right after that. So I'm still going to bed early. I'm still getting a full 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and whatever. So be it that. If you can't do at night, I totally understand that, and your brain is fresh in the morning, then make it so that, okay, I get home after work and instead of vegging out on my phone for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, surfing the internet for 6, 7, 8 hours, and getting to bed at 2 in the morning and having to wake up really early and run out the door, get home, do what you need to do, give yourself like an hour of surf time and be really strict with yourself about it. Go to bed early or whatever, this is you finding what works for you the best. But develop that timeline for yourself and be disciplined with yourself. With this King of Swords, he's coming in to say, like, cut out the bull, The King of Swords can be all about that sometimes, and not in a harsh way, right? This isn't about being mean to yourself when you don't do this, right? Because if you're anything like me, if you put any kind of like discipline on yourself, especially the harder that you are about it, more of a hard aleck you are to yourself, the more you're going to want to rebel and the more you're going to slink out of that routine. So, don't be too maniacal to yourself about it, but, keep at it. Keep the discipline. When you slack, don't be mean to yourself for doing it. Be compassionate to yourself. Say, okay, I guess I really needed that. That's okay. But you know what? Now we really need to get back up, self. We really need to do this. Let's do it. And do it. If you fall into a pattern of procrastination, fine, that happens. But you got to catch yourself when you're doing it, and you got to get out of it. And then sometimes you just got to cut out those patterns, and that's with the you got the Page of Swords here too, so it's kind of cool. You've got the end and the beginning of that. So that to me is saying, like, this is going to be a practice, right? This is a practice. You're practicing how to get into a good routine. Like, make just getting into a good routine the goal at first. Don't make, don't put too much on yourself. This is you developing a long-term strategy. Your future self is coming in with this goal to say, like, hey, okay, you're developing a lifelong practice right now that's going to benefit you for the rest of your life. So that's going to take time. That's okay. You're going to mess up. You're going to have mistakes. You're going to procrastinate again. It's going to happen. That's okay. The thing is knowing that you're going to master this, knowing that you're going to get there, and giving yourself the time to get there. So, if it's literally just, I'm going to write for 5 minutes a day, or 5 minutes, 5 days a week. And that's it. Just 5 minutes. And whatever comes out on the page, I don't care, or, for whatever your practice is, just make it 5 minutes and just start there and do 1 week of it, and just like keep at it, keep build over time, build it up. Your stamina will increase, your ability will increase, your creative flow will increase. But it's just about getting down to it, just doing it, just getting there, just repeating it, and being really kind and compassionate to yourself throughout the entire process, rewarding yourself for when you do great and then being there for yourself, being your own shoulder to cry on when you mess up, because inevitably you're going to mess up. We all do. We're human. There are times that aren't going to work out. There are sometimes your life's going to take you in a weird direction. You know, you can't plan for that stuff, but you can plan for how you're going to react in a difficult situation. You know, if you react towards yourself with this compassion all the time, no matter what's happening, being there for yourself, being there for you as you're developing this practice, knowing that it's going to be a challenge, knowing that it's not always easy, knowing that you're going to procrastinate, but always getting back up when you fall, and, you know, dusting yourself off, comforting yourself when you've fallen, and celebrating yourself when you triumph, then you're gonna be able to develop this, and it's gonna become second nature. It's gonna become a habit. That's your goal, is to make this into a habit. And I don't remember, there's something about like you have to do something a certain amount of times in order for it to become a habit, you know. I don't know how many times that is, or if that's even real or not, but like, I feel that kind of thing for you in this, as you develop this practice, of whatever the practice is. You know, remember that it's a practice that you're doing, and practice makes perfect, but none of us are really perfect, right? So it's like, don't expect yourself to be the King of Swords right away. You got to start out at the page, and that's fine. That's totally fine. And it's all about your perspective in life. With this Five of Cups energy here, you know, that to me is like, it's saying two things for this particular reading. It's saying, first off, don't dwell on the past, right? He lost these 3 cards, but you know what? Or cups, but you know what? He's got 2 cups left standing behind him. And those 2 cups that are behind him are actually what's going to bring him the joy and success he wanted. Those 3 cups that fell, they had to fall. So be it. So as you move through your practice and you develop your habits, your positive habits towards creativity and creation, don't cry over spilt milk. If something doesn't work out, okay, you know, give yourself some time to process, right? The 5 of Cups is the grief card, right? You do have to go through grief in order to let it go. So, you know, if you're upset, let yourself be upset. Be there for yourself. Like I said, be your own shoulder to cry on, and then get back up and notice how you're able to move towards something new, and that new thing, you know, or move towards something else, you know, is going to bring you closer to where you want to go. So I think that's just sort of the philosophy that your future self is really coming in here with. Is like, I feel like they've developed, you know, with this King of Swords. The King of Swords is a very disciplined person, and not in like a scary, you know, military drill sergeant kind of way, but like in this creative way. You know, he's the most intelligent and you know, mindful of the entire deck. He is incredibly intelligent. He is, you know, the swords are all the air signs, so they're all about thoughts and the mind. He's deeply analytical, and he's able to develop these very strong habits for himself to flow through things. He still feels his emotions, right? It's important to remember that King of Swords is not emotionless. He feels his emotions very, very, very deeply, but he does not let them dictate his actions. You see, he's got 2 capes here. He's got this this purple exterior cape, which is how he presents to the world, and then he has this beautiful crimson cape that's hidden on the inside that he holds close. The red cape represents his emotions. They represent his emotionality, but he protects and cloaks those with his purple cape. So he still has his emotions. He just doesn't let them control his actions. He feels his feelings very, very, very deeply, and then he moves on from them. And then he's able to use his analytical side to dictate how he then will move next, having known what has happened. He's in total harmony and communication within himself, which both of these cards are hinting at. You know, we have the Caduceus here, which is the blending of the masculine and feminine forces within all of us. We all have those connections within each of us. And so it's like it's like he's blended both of those together in order to create this very whole, beautiful person. And I think that aspect, you know, deeply in their own power is your future self present in this reading, coming in to let you know, like, hey, that's where you're going. That's where you're 100% capable of being. And it might take time and work and effort to get there, but you know what? You have all that it takes to get to where your goals are. You have all that it takes to achieve your dreams. It's just a matter of developing these healthy daily habits, because the future doesn't exist. As much as this is technically your future self coming in here, there is no future. There's just now. The future will be a now moment. It won't feel like the future when you're there. It'll just feel like now. And the past won't feel like the past, like the where we are now won't feel like now anymore. It'll feel like the past, and it will only exist in your mind as memories. But for you, so remember, where you are now is just in this one moment, and it's going to take a series of now moments in order to get to where you want to go. So if you are in the habit right now of procrastination, which, trust me, I have been there, I am still there in many senses. If you've been following my channel for a long time, you'll notice the gaps and hiatuses I have had. It's a part of me. So I get it, but it's like, it's all about remembering that the future doesn't exist. So if you are in the habit of procrastination, what that means is you are in the habit of not doing anything, right? It's not that you're in the habit of doing something in the future, because once the future gets here, it's just another now moment. So if your habit is to put something off, chances are once you get to that future moment, you're still in the habit of putting things off, you're just going to keep putting it off, because it's not about the future and it's not about the past. It's only about right now. So what you're trying to do is get into the habit of doing things now. And it's hard. It's so hard to get into that habit, because you have to break this history of not doing things now. It's kind of binary. And when you get down to it, life is a series of choices. And not doing something is very much an active choice. Even though it doesn't feel active, it is. When you choose to do nothing, you are choosing in that moment not to do something. So you're constantly taking action even when you don't think you are. So it's like your future self is coming in to say, be very cognizant of those actions that you're making. Even though they're deep ingrained habits, they don't feel like you're taking any action at all. It just feels like, oh, this is what I always do. I just go on my phone after work and then I go to bed. That's what I do. That is, in fact, you choosing to go on your phone in each one of those moments instead of starting to work on this project that you want to do. And I get the feeling that your dreams are huge, which is totally fine. It's 100% legitimate to have huge goals. You will get there. Your future self is saying you're going to get there, but it will require you to change the habit of, in each moment, putting off taking any action. So then the more that you develop this practice of taking these actions when you need to, the more you're going to get to exactly where you need to go. I love this reading. This is a pep talk, and this is totally meant for me, so that's great. It's meant for you, but it is also coming into me as well, like, hey, these are all things that my intuition has been telling me all of this for a very long time, and sometimes I'm successful with it, and sometimes I'm not, So that's exactly where it is, This is going to happen for you too. Sometimes it's going to work out great, and you're going to be exactly where you want to be, and you're going to feel like you're in the flow. And some days you're not going to feel that way. Some days you're going to put things off. Some days you're not going to do what you want to do. Some days you're going to slip into bad habits. It's okay. You are a human being, and remember, you are developing a lifelong process that will build over time to create the outcomes that you want. You can't be there right now, And that's okay. You don't want to be there immediately, right? Because life is about the journey. It's about moving towards this. You're going to feel so much better. Your future self is coming in to say this. You're going to feel so much better when you look back and see how you've built from your own soul through these periods of moments over and over, time and time, to build into this beautiful, amazing project, creative being that you are. You know, you to realize this, it's going to take the time and the energy and the work, and that's okay. It's about you being okay with that in the now moment. Okay, right now, because it's like there's a blessing in the fact that it doesn't have to happen overnight too. It means that all of these unknowns that you have, you know, like, oh my God, how the heck am I gonna make this happen? You know, like, how am I gonna connect to the people I need to connect to make it happen? And how am I gonna do that? You don't have to know any of that right now. All you have to know right now is I'm developing a practice. That's it. All you have to know right now is I'm developing the habit of writing 5 minutes a day for 1 week. That's it. You know, and that's it. And that's all you got to do. So yeah, we're going to do your oracle cards now. Still recording. It's great. 2 cards from Healing with the Angels Oracle deck. First card, body care. Yeah. This is totally in line with what I was talking about. Take care of yourself as you're doing this. And so, you know, don't push yourself too hard too. You know, I don't mean to be like, go. You know, I think that's the message you really needed to hear right now. But also, like, be very cognizant of your body. As you develop this practice, you know, you're also developing the practice of awareness. So it's like with this uniting of these two forces, you're developing how you feel, you know? So it's like, make your practice also sleeping enough, right? Like, apparently we need, and I never really knew this, like, I guess like it's a statistic I've heard, but I didn't realize how important it was. We need 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night. A human being's physiology needs 7 to 8 hours every night. There is a certain process of there's REM sleep and a different type of sleep cycle that your brain needs to go through a certain number of times every single night in order to be healthy. And so in order to take care of yourself, mind, body, and soul, you got to get enough sleep. It's very, very, very important. So build that into your routine. Also, taking care of your heart is so important. Loving yourself as you move through this, you know, like being there for you. Don't be hard on yourself when you slip, because you're gonna slip. We all do it. It's okay. It's less about being hard on yourself when you slip and more about lighting yourself up when you come back, right? So, okay, you slipped. Okay, it happened. I'm here for you, whatever you need. Okay, you're getting back up. Okay, I'm going to reward you for getting back up. You got back up. We're doing this. Great. You know, getting into that way of thinking about yourself is going to help so much with this entire process. And we've got truth and integrity. Oh, wow. So just like really being in yourself in this, like, you know, following your truth, being in your own integrity, right? Like, that's what this is all about. Instead of, you know, procrastinating, it's like being fully in your own power is what I'm feeling from this. You know, you being you, finding your authentic voice. If you're a writer, if you're a singer, if you're an artist, if you're a painter, if you're whatever your project is, if you're a musician, whatever this is for you. And it could be many things. I am an artistic person and I can't choose which media is for me. So I do kind of all of them, you know, and I'm really happy. That's a part of my authentic truth, right? So being in your truth, being in your own authenticity, it's like, that's what this is about. So it's like you're developing this habit, not just to be hard on yourself, you're developing it so that you can develop your voice, so that you can practice doing this art, because art is about practice. It's about, you know, the only way to get to where you want to go, you know, to build this, it takes time and work and repetition and practice in order to build your artistic genius up to the level that it needs to be. So give yourself the time, give yourself the energy, give yourself the support to really develop your voice. Give yourself time to experiment too. If you don't have a project in mind necessarily, and you don't really know, you don't have a direction, that's great. What that means is that that's an opportunity to develop your voice. That's an opportunity to explore, okay, is this for me? Is this not for me? Okay, I'm going to try, printmaking now. Is this for me? No, okay, it's not. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to try writing now. Is this for me? Is it not? If you're having trouble kind of pinpointing, but you just know in your heart you got to do something creatively, like give yourself the time to discover yourself. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. But I do feel like you have ideas, and goals, and just giving yourself the time to do these projects slowly over time, building it into your life where you just do it no matter what. At this time, every time, Mondays 7:45 is my songwriting day, and you know what? I'm doing it. I scheduled it. I'm doing it. And you know what? When it comes up, I'm doing it. Don't care, I'm doing it. And then, you sit down and you're doing it and it's not coming out. Well, okay, then I'm just going to press C. I'm going to play C on the piano 3 million times for the entire half an hour I have scheduled. If no music's coming out, I'm just pressing C. All right, let's see. Can I write a song rhythmically with just playing C? Maybe, probably, and start experimenting that way. And don't feel like you have to have it all figured out. Mess around, play around, but give yourself the dedicated time and space to do that, Schedule in your spontaneity. We've got discernment from healing with the Shamanic Healing Oracle. I've been reading from the book for this because I really like the words. So I'm going to read this from the book and then we'll kind of build it in here. As spiritual, physical, and energetic beings, we oftentimes blur the lines between our energy, the energy of a situation, and the energy of another person. When we take on other people's energy and label it as our own, we start to judge. This lowers our energetic vibrations. We then get caught up in a seemingly never-ending cycle of feeling bad, labeling, justifying, and appropriating what is not ours to claim. The lesson here, as in the previous card, is to be present. Yeah, here we go. Be present. Not label or judge, and let the energy feeling wash through you. Once you do this, notice where in your body you feel the effects of the emotion. Does your heart open up? Does your belly hurt? Does your throat get tight? Your head can lie to you, but your body never does. So listening to your body, this is great. You might actually want to check out pile number 2 because I talk all about Reiki healing and, certain energy blocks within the body. It's a potential that, a part of your procrastination and not moving forward is some kind of emotional blockage, with this 5 of Cups energy here too, being in the grief, it's potential that, certain things from your past, are blocking you from your own creativity. If you had interactions with somebody in the past who judged your work or made you feel bad about not being good enough or, any of that kind of thing, that emotional scarring may still be present within your body and keeping you from moving forward. So you may actually want to look into some Reiki healing too, discern whether or not these judgments that you might be feeling within yourself, if you're really judging yourself for not working, that's a huge artistic block right there. That's huge. Really ask yourself, did this even come from me? Is this me, or was this the opinion of somebody else that's locked onto me, lodged within me? And if it is, then that means that's something that you need to release. And that's you can do that. You can release anything. You don't have to be stuck in any of this anymore. Make a habit of making your first response to overwhelming energy, wow, that's interesting, instead of what's wrong with me. This allows you to objectively discover how and why your body is reacting to the given situation or person. This card is asking you to stop looking outside yourself for answers to an issue. Instead, sit with and listen to what your body is telling you. Okay, so I'm getting a whole other picture for this too. I feel like a part of why you're procrastinating is that there's something that's blocking you artistically. That's where your writer's block is coming from. You know, your quote unquote writer's block, whatever it is. If you're a writer, you're whatever. It's coming from the fact that there are deep emotions within you that come up every time you try to work. And so you put it off because you're putting off facing those emotions. So a part of this practice that you're developing, like I said, you need to sit down and do something, you know, even if it's nothing. And so it's like, if you sit down and you start to feel overwhelmed, instead of running away, instead of just stopping, instead of putting it down, give yourself the entire period that you've blocked off. So if it's just 5 minutes a day, then it's just going to be 5 minutes. But if it's like 20 minutes, then give yourself that entire 20 minutes. You know, you might start doing some free writing. There's this really wonderful process that was developed for this book called The Artist's Way that I really subscribe to. But it's like, she encourages you to write 3 pages every morning of just whatever comes out of your head. And a lot of times it's the stuff that's like the stuff that's blocking you is going to start coming out. You know, in meditation, this happens too, where when you're meditating and, you know, quieting your thoughts, the thoughts that start popping in, the more that you start releasing them every time, are going to be the things that are blocking you. It's just going to be what comes up. So when it happens, write it down, let it go, you know, release it. Let things come up and bubble up when they need to, and see them, face them. Like it was saying, don't be attached to them. Don't say, oh my God, this makes me a terrible person. Feel them, be one step removed from them, experience them, and then whoosh, flush it out, you know? That I think can really help you get to the point where, you know, this you don't have these emotional blocks getting in the way of your creative process. The final card is How to Be a Daisy Wildflower deck, or How to Be a Wildflower deck, by Katie Daisy. And I like this because it's got a symbol on one side and a quote on the other. The symbol that you've got is this house that is falling apart, but you know, at the same time, it's actually growing these very beautiful, beautiful flowers. So it's like I feel like for you in this particular reading, it's like, it's about that perspective shift. You might feel like you are this house that's falling apart. Maybe you're slightly older, you know, maybe or at least you've been, you know, you've been watching yourself long enough, you've been procrastinating long enough to feel like, what's the point? I'm never going to get there. I'm too old to get there. I've already wasted my chance of getting there or whatever, you know? And of course your future self is coming to say like, no effing way. Like, and I mean that too. If you are alive on this planet right now, you're watching this video, which means you are a living person. And so if you have sentience still and you're still alive, you have every opportunity to create anything still. Even if you're going to die in 2 days, which don't be freaked out, you know, I can't guarantee whether or not you are, but you know, even if that's the case, in those 2 days, you have 2 days to create something beautiful and impactful and wonderful. And so it's less about it's too late and more about, what am I doing now, right? It's coming back into the now moment. You know, that's not putting things off into the future. That's wallowing in the past. Either one of those things, the past and the future, they're both gone. All you've got right now is right now. So, you know, you're not a decrepit aging house. You are a garden. You are a farm for flowers. Maybe you can take those flowers, cut them, dry them, and create a beautiful, amazing dried flower sculpture, you know? And this falling apart house actually gave you the ability to do that. So it's all about shifting your perspective with that 5 of Cups again into, okay, well, what can I do with this? What can I do right now? What has my experience shown me? What has the story of my life taught me? Maybe I can turn that into my artistic project. Maybe I can create something from my own experience instead of, you know, some other thing I was thinking about doing 30 years ago, you know, whatever this is for you. I think that could be for anyone at any age, you know, but I do feel like there's a bit of that energy of you maybe feeling like it's too late for you when it is so not. It's so not. It's like, it's never too late. It's never too late. Always have hope, you know, that you can create anything, because you can. It's just a matter of you bringing yourself back into the now. This card in discernment talked about being present, coming back into the present moment. So honestly, developing a meditation practice could be really helpful for you too. Mine is very easy. It's very simple. I just, for 10 minutes a day, when I get home from work, I sit in silence, and that's it. I set a timer for 10 minutes. I turn out the lights. I light a candle. I sit down and I focus on my breathing. And I listen to my breathing. And I listen to the silence. And inevitably thoughts come into my head. And when I find myself getting distracted by them, I come back into it and I say, oh, thinking. And I start to let them go again. And I focus back on my breath. And that's it. And every time thoughts come up, that's fine. They're going to. You're a human being. You notice the thoughts. You say thinking. You come back into it, and you keep breathing. And I tell you, like, even 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week, changes your life. You will be less afraid, you will be less anxious, and you will be more present. You'll be more present because you're training your brain in those moments to notice when you're thinking. So then, you notice, this is mindfulness, the practice of mindfulness. You start to notice when some of these negative thoughts come up, some of these difficult things come up into your head. You just immediately notice them. And thinking, let me come back to the present. I'm not there, I'm here, And that's what it's all about. And the more that you do that, the more you come back into center, and the more it's this process, like I was saying, of working with the universe. The universe will work with you. It wants to do this work with you. So it's like you'll just become more aware. You'll become easier. It'll become easier. It'll be more in tune and aligned. And then, the more and more and more and more you do it, the easier and easier and easier it will become for you. So anyway, pile number 3, I'm going to leave it there. This was a great reading. You've got a lot of really exciting, creative stuff coming to you. So be open to it. Be open to building a practice for yourself, and don't, it doesn't have to be anything crazy at the beginning. Be slow over time. Like I said, my meditation, I just do 10 minutes a day because I tried doing a half an hour every day and I just couldn't. And so I put it off, and it made me slink into my procrastination cycle again. So where I'm at right now in my meditation training is 10 minutes. And you know what? That's fine. I would rather do 10 minutes a day than do nothing. So put it to yourself that way. Okay, I would rather sit for 5 minutes and try to play the piano, even if I can't, than not doing anything and hating myself for never starting, right? It's so much better to just do a tiny bit than to do absolutely nothing at all, because then you're just training yourself how to do it. And so, yeah, you need to take some time. That's fine. You need to take, even for the next year of just developing a practice, even if nothing really comes of it, you know what? That would be 1 year of deeply hard work that you will always thank yourself for. And I mean that. So anyway, pile number 3, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning into this reading. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. That helps so much. Feel free to give me a comment, whatever you think about it. I love hearing from everybody who was watching. It's just so great to get those comments. Yeah, I've got a private website for private readings. You can find that at junodrome.com. And, there's a new Instagram at Junodrome Tarot. Feel free to follow that. And yeah, catch you later, pile number 3. Hi, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading. This is going to be your reading for what does your future self need to tell you. So this reading, this is the first time I've done this reading. The first 3 went really well. Although pile number 2 kept cutting out, so like I had to keep restarting the camera. So since then I've been a little paranoid. I'm gonna keep watching to make sure we're recording. Yeah, let's dive right into this. So you chose the pile with this really pretty polished amethyst stone. So we'll set that aside for now, and we'll dive right into your reading. So first up, you have a big pile from the Wild Unknown Tarot. We've got the 2 of Wands, the Son of Cups, which is the Knight of Cups in most decks, the 7 of Cups, Judgment, and the 8 of Wands. Okay. So I'm really getting the sense that let me do some movement here. Yeah. So your future self is coming in with a message about where you are right now. So the point of doing these future readings is like to tune into like a version of your future self that's resonant with what moment and mode you're in currently. Like that's kind of what this is about. Let me make sure you're still in frame here. And you are, perfect. Okay, so your future self is coming in to say, like, I get the sense that you're in kind of a moment where you're trying to choose between something here, and maybe you feel a little bit lost at direction, and your future self is coming in to say, like, give you some advice on that. Like, I feel like maybe you feel like there's a lot of options for you right now in your life, and maybe like a lot of different kinds of projects, a lot of different directions that you can move in, because the 7 of Cups is all about having a lot of options. Sometimes it can mean being indecisive, and I feel a little bit of that for you. Oh, I have this upside down. It's supposed to go like that. I don't read reversals. No, it is supposed to go like this. Interesting. These mountains are also sky, so it's just confusing. That's cool. So yeah, you know, maybe that's it too. It's like there's some confusion, like you don't know which way is up, right? Like I feel that for you. It's like you're having a difficult time deciding. But your future self is coming in to say, like, you actually don't have that much of a choice. I mean, we always have infinite choice in life. In fact, we live in a free will world, in a free will realm here on this earth plane. What does that mean? That means that we can choose to do anything, you know? And that's really important to remember, that you don't have to feel like you're stuck in any direction ever. If you feel that way and you feel like you need to change, change is always available to you. You know, you always have the ability to do something else, to alter where you are, to regain a sense of understanding on who you are and what you want in life, and do something else. You always have the opportunity to do that. But I think for you, maybe you feel like you have too many options. You feel like you have too many things you're interested in. You feel like you have too many places you could go, and you just don't know where to go. And your future self is coming in to say, like, okay, as much as you feel like you have all of these options and you feel like you don't know, at the deep heart center, deep in your own heart, you have the pathway forward present within you. And your future self is coming from the moment where you've already chosen which direction and you're very happy with that choice. So let go of the idea of making the wrong choice, you know? That's really important. There are no wrong choices in life. We make decisions, we move, and we made those decisions and we moved, and then we're in a different moment, right? And, you know, sometimes some things have different lessons for us, but, you know, by following your heart, you're going to choose something that you're going to be proud of. So just give yourself that level of self-confidence, that you have the ability to choose the right way forward for you. And it's going to come from you tuning into your own heart. And I say that because the Knights, to me, I view the Knights in a reading as what movement is happening in the reading, and like, where's the energy? And for this reading, the energy and the movement is in, your emotions, love, peace, harmony, following your heart. And so, your future self is saying, okay, tune back into your heart, let go of all of these options, tune into your heart and listen to what your heart wants. And so, you may even consider doing some heart-based meditations. There's this really amazing heart breathing meditation that one of my favorite readers on YouTube does. Her name's Cheryl Lee Harnish. I'm gonna link to her meditation here in this video. But what's great about her stuff is that she is, she's really powerful at having developed this, or she says that it came to her, right? She heard guides give her this way to do it. But basically what it is it's like you breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and breathing out. Now, as you breathe in and out, I want you to imagine, breathe in, breathe out, that your breathing in and out is actually coming through your heart. So you're breathing in through your heart, and you're breathing out through your heart. And the more that you do that, you're going to tune into the frequency of love. You're going to tune into your own heart. You're going to tune inward towards your own heart beat and all of that. And that's going to help bring you into alignment with your own inner love. And by being in alignment with that, then ask yourself, okay, what direction do I want to go in? And it's going to become really obvious which path is the best for you. And so, I think your future self is really encouraging you to start looking within and seeing, okay, what's best for me? And then as soon as you start to do that, right, then you're going to start to develop this plan to move forward. Because the two of Wands can also be journeying within. It's about journeys and travel and journeying within. So I do think that doing a deep dive within yourself is going to help you come to a better understanding of where you want to be to move forward. But I think it's also saying that there's going to be some planning for the future happening here too. Like as soon as you get an idea of what direction your heart wants, then things are going to start to fall into place where you start to picture, okay, well, I need to do this, this, and this now in order to get to that point. And then that's going to be paired with this really fast, swift moving energy. So like as soon as you decide to do that, and as soon as you get a clearer picture of how you want to move forward, it's all going to happen really, really fast for you. And then this final card here is the Judgment card, which is all about this, being in an energy of reflection and transforming your views of the past. So I feel like this is your future self coming in to give you this information, is being reflected by the Judgment. So your future self is in a moment where they've done all of these things, and now they can look back on it and be really proud of themselves for having listened to their heart to move forward. And the things will start to make more sense. So if you're really in a fog right now about stuff, in the future, you're going to have a much, much, much clearer perspective on everything that's happened in your own past from now, and everything that you're in right now that you might be confused about. You'll have a better understanding moving forward. So now we're going to do 4 cards from the 1JJ Swiss deck. Death. Okay, yep, I feel that for you. The 7 of Wands now. The 8 of Cups. Yeah, okay, yep. So, right. And the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, so it's like this movement forward is going to open up this new way to it's like you're gonna have a new way to view the world, but also like your external world is going to change from having done all of this, right? Like maybe there are things in your life currently that need to change, and I see that because death isn't really scary, you know. Sometimes it can look scary, but it's more about change. It's about a transformation. It's like moving from one phase of life into the next, and I feel like you're ready to end whatever phase you're in right now and move on, because the Eight of Cups is all about moving on. It's leaving things behind and moving forward. And I think what you're leaving behind is maybe some difficult... No, this is the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is all about triumph over adversity. Yeah. So it's like you've been stuck in these wands here for so long. You've been battling and battling and battling, and you're super stuck. That's the Five of Wands. The Seven of Wands is finally being victorious over that battle. It's finally coming out on the other side of it. It's finally like fighting to the point where then you are ready to escape that fight. And being the victor in that. So it's like this struggle that I think you've been having with yourself, you're finally going to overcome that when you leave behind all of these things that no longer serve you, when you walk away from the things that don't work for you. And it could be places, you know, because the Pentacles can talk about physical location, but it could also be jobs, you know, a job that isn't working out for you, any of that kind of thing. It's like by prioritizing this new beginning towards, you know, making money in a different way, living in a new place, whatever it is for you, you know, by prioritizing that, you're going to be so much happier. I feel like that's you following your heart to find what's good for you. The Eight of Cups is all about this idea of, you know, these 8 cups, they worked for you for a time, but they no longer fit in your life. And so you are going to take the risk, take the plunge of walking away from these 8 cups that once served you to try to find your 9th and 10th cup. And so, you know, that journey is going to reward you. By doing that, you're going to start moving in a direction that you're going to feel yourself really cherishing. And so your future self is coming in, reflecting back on these actions that you haven't taken yet, but you're going to, and is really proud of you to say like, hey, this is totally achievable. Following your happiness and following your dreams is something that is so possible and, you know, so worth making those choices. Perfect. So now we've got our final 3 tarot cards come from the Universal Waite deck. We've got the, I don't know, can you see this all the way? Yeah, oh, I fit it all in. Oh, cool. We got the Ace of Pentacles, we've got the Page of Cups, and we've got the Page of Pentacles. Wow. Okay, so Page of Pentacles twice. So, you know, that's fun. All 4 piles this week had a double, which I think is cool. Doubles are cool for me because it just is like, whenever I get a double, you know, I use 3 different tarot decks, so they're actually kind of common, but, you know, a double card is telling us this is the most important message for the reading. So this is what your future self really wants to take away for you, is like, you have the ability to start new and start fresh towards a business, towards a new job, towards a new place to live, to move to. You know, in the material world, you have this new start available to you, and you know, you might be at the very, very beginning stages of that now, and it might be a long and arduous process, you know, but the thing is, if you're following your heart, right, you're gonna, that is gonna be enough to keep you going, because it's like, well, okay, this is my dream. I want to make my dream real. I'm willing to put in the work and to do the effort, to take the time to realize my dreams. And you know, it might be a long process. It might be hard some days. You know, if you want a pile reading about procrastination and just keeping going, then pile number 3 is for you. But you know, some days it's gonna be hard. But like, you can keep going. You can keep doing it. You can keep getting up and moving. And your future self wants to let you know that like you have this new start here possible for you. You also have the Page of Cups, so it's like this new beginning is following your happiness. And like, that's so great for you. And then, oh my God, I didn't even realize, yeah, you have the Ace of Pentacles as well. So like the aces are the new beginnings card. They're the first step in a journey, but they're also the culmination kind of too. They represent everything to know about that suit. And so for you, it's like the universe is handing you this pentacle, saying, here it is, it's yours, take it, right? So it's like you're really open to starting this new start towards, it's a financial venture for you, like a new job, or like a, you know, making your own business, working for yourself, you know, some kind of creative venture that could make money, whatever it is for you. It's like, you know, you might feel like you have so many different options for that, and you have so many different ideas, and you don't know which one to start with, but your future self is saying, like, start slow, you know, start with the thing that lights you up the most. Like, don't do that thing that you think might be good because, oh, well, that's what's popular and that could make money, so maybe I'll do that. And yeah, no, cut that out. Like, don't do anything to please anyone else. Do what you're gonna do to please your own heart. You know, look at, okay, well, what's going to make me the happiest? And that is what I will choose. So follow that, you know, follow that. We've got 3 oracle cards left here. So we'll start with the Angel Oracle deck, actually. I like this, Retreat. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so yep. You got to do some deep soul searching here. To find what is good for you. So take the time to do that, you know, go off on your own for a bit. I'm surprised we didn't get the Hermit card, but I'm getting the Hermit vibes from this Retreat card. You know, take some time on your own, you know, to not be in the influence of other people, to be on your own, to really come to an understanding of what you want for yourself and for your life, and be okay with that. Be okay with following yourself and following your own needs, regardless of what other people have to say about it. That's going to help you so much in this situation. And, you know, maybe do some meditation, do some work, internal work. That's going to help you understand a lot clearer what you want for yourself. And then once you get into that clear understanding, you'll be able to be really happy on the choices you make moving forward, because like, you know that it's coming from your own heart. From the Shamanic Healing Oracle, you've got Stripping Illusions. So I'm going to read that from the book. And I do feel a little bit of that for you, right? I feel like you're lost in all of these, well, what if it could be like this? And well, what if it's that? And I think that a lot of that is in your mind, right? I think a lot of it is like, okay, you got to come into a very clearer sense of finding your own intuitive voice and tuning into that, which is all about, you know, being quiet and listening. And it's the small internal little nudging voice, you know, the things that pop up into your mind when you're daydreaming. Those are the things that are the most important for you to follow, less about all of the other stuff. So let's read this though. The lotus flower is a funny plant. It flourishes in the muck and mud. Apparently, in spite of the muck of its birth, beautiful petals open up, layer after layer, revealing more and more of its inner beauty. You are being called to strip away illusion after illusion from your life. You are being asked to enable your true essence to shine through. Allow layer after layer of false beliefs, cluttered thinking, unfulfilling relationships, chaotic environments to go by the wayside, to reveal the perfect essence of your core self. This process is challenging at best. We tend to hold on to the illusions we have created, thinking they keep us safe. All they really do is blind us to our true beauty and potential. This card is calling you to look at your truth in the face and not let illusions cloud your view of the true beauty of yourself and others. Yeah, so that just perfectly sums up the work for you, you know, and it might seem scary and it might take a little bit to really go within and find this, but the more that you do it, the more happy you're going to feel, because you'll start to become you'll start to come face to face with your essence, you know, your very self. And then that coming into contact with that is going to make you feel so great, because you'll understand yourself so much more. The final card here is these moths here. So this is from How to Be a Wildflower deck by Katie Daisy. I love this deck so much. But on one end, it's got these symbols, and then on the other end, it's got a quote. So the symbols you got are the moths, right? So, you know, I think for your situation, what I'm getting from this is that idea of a moth to a flame, right? So ignite your inner flame, right? Come into contact with your own inner light, that soft, glowing light of the flame of your intuition, of your heart. And that's gonna, you know, then all of the things that you need to do to move forward will start to make sense, and it'll be a fast moving energy, because you'll be like a moth to the flame. Like once you see that inner idea of how to move forward, then it's just going to be like swift moving action. Bam, bam, bam. Now, the quote on the other side is seek the light. Yeah. So there you go. Yep, exactly. Seek that inner light. You know, you might feel like you're in the dark about how to move forward right now, but your future self is saying the answer lies within you. The answer on how to move forward lies deep within your heart, and you have the ability to find that out. So tap into it. Tap into it. Anyway, pile number 4, that was my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments what you think either way. I love hearing from everybody. If you would like a private reading with me to get very specific on things, I can help you get to the root of some of this stuff, you know. If you have different choices that you're choosing from, I really love doing readings between different choices. And what we'll do is we'll pull cards of, okay, what happens if I move this way? What happens if I move that way? What happens if I choose this? What happens if I choose that? And then it'll just give you a very clear perspective, because, you know, like I said, there's no wrong choices. So it'll just give me like, okay, if I go this direction, this, and this is how it's going to work out. And if I go this direction, this, and this is how it's going to work out. So hit me up on that. My website is junodrone.com. I would love to do a reading for you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It really does help me out. As of now, we're in the 800s for subscribers, which is so great. So deep thanks to everyone who subscribed to the channel so far. When we get to 1,000, we're going to be doing a lot more giveaways of some fun things. So tune in for that. I'm excited to give things away to you all. There's a new Instagram. You can check that out at Junodrone Tarot. That's fun. And yeah, let me know if you have anything you want to tell me. Let me know. Anyway, pile number 4. Catch you later. See ya.